The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect those of the Barbers Chat Network, our great partners at H&B Media, or any of our media peers. We're just five idiots who love sports and love to talk shit. If you're offended easily, then this show isn't for you. And for those of you who aren't offended easily, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Remember, it's only entertainment.
So cool.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold. My agent just said we made 100 flat. Make it back and make it stack. This like no Steven Jack. Put my rings up in the camera like I needed that. Up in the air and at the rim is where I meet them at.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of I'm Not Gonna Hold You. It is Friday, September 13th, 2024. I am your host, Scott Lewis. Of course, you know where to follow me on all social media platforms. That is at Barberchair Scott. You can follow the Barberchair Network at Barberchair.net on all social media platforms. Follow our partners, H&B Media, at H&B Media TV on Twitter and at H&B Media on Instagram, man. You can subscribe to our patreon.com/Barberchair Network, man. You can click on the link in the description box, or you can take your phone right up to this QR code right here where you can stream. We'll take you right into all the different links we got over there. We got 4 different tiers. We got the Summer Sessions tier for $5. We just dropped a real dope episode yesterday. We've got the 79th and Hallis tier where you can get all your episodes early. And of course, we got the I'm Not Gonna Hold You tier where you get all the clips, all the, separate local hour, everything. And if you want everything we've got on the Barberchair Network Patreon, you can go to subscribe to our $10 tier, the Barberchair All Access tier. That gets you everything. And you'll get a 25% off code on your first order at the Barberchair Network shop. And you can just visit the shop at bcnetshop.com. Every order that we have sent out is out, so we appreciate y'all for fucking with us, man. We have a packed show for y'all today on the Friday edition of the show. Bang was supposed to be here today, but his MacBook died, so he couldn't do the show. So he'll be back next week. He'll be out on Monday. Courtney will join later on in the show. We're gonna be breaking down everything that happened last night and Thursday night football game and preview this upcoming slate of games. And of course, the homie and comedian and our culture correspondent, Larry Legend, will be joining us as well. We're going to talk about all the crazy events that happened this week in the world of Black culture, man. But I'm going to bring in my crew. Here we got Dante and we've got Mikey here with us, man. What's going on, brothers?
I'm decent, bro. Really can't complain. We getting the rain up here in Atlanta from the hurricane, but other than that, everything's solid. About to be some good baseball. They got a little minor league action going right now. Tamar Johnson, but like me and Mikey were just talking about, Mets Phillies about to kick off a very important race in NL wild for the NL wild card. So this is gonna be a very good series. Just a couple other ones. So man, I'm really chilling.
Mikey, how you feeling?
Cool, bro. Chilling. Got fresh braids, you know what I'm saying? Got the car wash, crib is clean. I'm ready for a nice little weekend. It should be a decent sports weekend, man. We have some good games in the NFL. We got Canelo fighting tomorrow against Edgar Berlanga. You got some college football. You got some college football today. And then, like Dante said, we're getting close to the end of the MLB season, and there's some very tight wild card races. In both the AL and the NL. So I'm chilling, man.
We are very close to my favorite postseason, which is MLB postseason in a couple weeks. Of course, we'll have full lockdown coverage for that on the show as well. It should be a big sports weekend. I'll be in the H-Town this weekend. By the way, if anybody knows a place that I can actually watch the game at I'm talking about the afternoon games And I know the thing I've run into is I don't want an actual place where they got hookah and shit. I can just watch the games. Like I don't want no DJs and nothing. I want to actually watch the games. If anybody know any spots in the Houston area, send them to your boy. That's what I'm trying to look to see before I head down to do that game. Me and Pavi will be holding it down at NRG Stadium for Bears Texans Sunday Night Football, and I think that's a perfect segue into it, man. As we get ready to start off with the local hour. Bang is not here to sing the song, and I'm not even gonna try. It is a local hour here. The Bears will be getting ready to face the Houston Texans, man. Both teams are 1-0. Texans got a big kind of shootout win in Indianapolis over the Colts this past Sunday. And then the Bears, of course, we all know how they won, beating the Tennessee Titans at home, man. I'll be there. I think it's going to be a playoff type atmosphere. And the reason I say that is I did not know this is their first like Sunday night football game in Houston in a while. Last year they didn't have any primetime games. Obviously, nobody thought they're going to be as good as they are or as they became. So they didn't have any primetime games. They had a home playoff game, but things didn't really. It's not. Well, it was a playoff atmosphere, obviously, because it wasn't the playoffs. But they have a big regular season game in this quarterback matchup that you got between C.J. Stroud and Caleb Williams. These two had a big Heisman race a couple years ago, which Caleb ended up winning. This will be their first, time facing each other in NFL. So I think that's going to be big. They've called it a whiteout. So the Houston will be wearing their full white fits. They're going to be asking a whole bunch of Texas fans to show up in white, and the Bears are going to be wearing their full orange uniforms as well. They went 1-1 in those uniforms last year, lost to Tampa Bay on the road, beat Carolina at the crib. So that's going to be interesting to see. Let's talk about our feelings going into this game, like what we're feeling going into this game. For me personally, I think the Bears are playing with house money, and I say that because winning on Sunday, which I really wanted them to win, not just because you want to start off, because I knew what the schedule was going to be looking like coming up. I've said, I think even Mikey said the same thing. I don't think this first month of the schedule is as quote unquote easy as a lot of people make it out to be. I know what the strength of schedule says, but I don't care about strength of schedule in the NFL because NFL's year-to-year league. Teams who were good last year might not necessarily be good this year and vice versa. So I really want them to get them because to me, I had this as a schedule loss. I'll get into my predictions later in the game, later in the hour, obviously. But I think they should come in a little free and just feel like, the pressure's on Houston, in my opinion. Houston, I believe, is going to be this year's culture team where you got everybody. You already got them in the Super Bowl, got them beating the Chiefs and things like that. All the pressure's on them. Not to say there's no pressure for the Bears, especially Caleb Williams, because coming off such a bad performance last week, you want to see him better. You want to see this offense do better. But I am surprisingly calm about it. Like, I'm fine either way. But even if they lose this game, I just need to see this offense better because I didn't like what I saw last week. Mikey, what's your feeling heading into this game?
I'm actually quite optimistic. I believe that the offense isn't going to have a showing as they did last week. I think that is as bad as we will see the offense play this season. I think there were a lot of variables last week. You have obviously the home opener, week 1, Caleb Williams' debut. You have high expectations. It's Shane Waldron's, debut as play caller in actual meaningful games. Keenan Allen's debut. I just think they were probably just a little bit shell-shocked the first half. Actually going into this game, I'm just optimistic that the offense is going to be able to figure it out. I know and I feel confident that the defense will be able to keep the Bears in this game. So for me, I think it's just on Caleb being able to kind of do the easy things that he normally does. I think this week he went to the podium and he kind of said that, after reviewing the tape, he missed a lot of easy throws that wasn't really characteristic for him. So I just think that optimistic is how I'm going into this game. I think that they can actually squeak this game out, and we'll get into that later on with our predictions. But I'm feeling good about this. It's a really big game. I'll text the group chat that this kind of has kind of like a playoff atmosphere feel. I'm sure you'll see that when you get there Sunday. Because these are two of the rising teams in the league. Obviously, a lot of talent on both sides, and it doesn't get any better than being, Sunday night football.
Dante, how you feeling about this Sunday's matchup? Where's your feeling meter at?
I feel great actually. It goes back to what I said last week, where him having a pretty much putting up a dud in his first game may be a blessing in disguise, because like you said, now you just go out there and play free. You can't play worse than last week. You had 96 yards or some shit like that. And so I think everybody's saying playoff atmosphere, but it's really more like for me, like one of those college atmospheres in the sense where they having a whiteout. They had the throwback to the Heisman race. And you got two young quarterbacks who really like to throw the football. And so I think it'll be a situation where, like I said with Caleb, just go out there and play. I think he's going to go play a lot freer than he did last week. We saw some of the jitters lead to some overthrows and throws where he just threw the ball too hard, threw it into the dirt. And I think we'll have a really good game. So for me, coming into week 2, I feel good because I think our defense is really good. Like you said, they had pretty much a shootout with the Colts. The Colts I'm not as high on the Colts as some people are. Some people think they will contend for a wild card. I'm not so certain about that. So for me, I think our defense will do enough to keep us in the game. And if, obviously the Texans offense is better than the Titans offense, but with everything our defense did, if they can do, what they did last week, if our offense can be, semi-decent, we have a great chance of winning this game. And I'm not saying we're going to score 2 touchdowns on defense, but if they can, flip the field, if they can hold the other team, they put up a goose egg in the second half, held them to nothing. So, as a matter of fact, I believe they didn't get past the 50-yard line in the second half. So, if your defense performs the way they perform, and your offense shows up, it should be a good night. I know everybody's picking the Bears to lose. We'll get into that later, but I think it's going to be a really good night.
Yeah, for me, man, we talk about the feeling you said, Mikey, about how what Caleb said this past week in the media room. To me, the thing that stood out to me about I was a Hallis twice this week, Wednesday and Thursday. And I think that one thing I saw from both sides was not both sides, but everybody involved was kind of like accountability a little bit to me. Flukes looked a little bit irritated on Monday. I don't know what he was like today. I wasn't there today. Flukes looked not on Monday, but Flukes a little irritated on Wednesday. Kind of felt like Caleb, he was still confident, but I kind of felt like, and this is just me, maybe I'm just the only one, maybe I'm reading body language too much. We still got to know what Caleb is like throughout a season. This is our first time covering him. You kind of knew what Justin's body language is like, but to me, he kind of felt like a little bit of reality kind of got knocked into him a little bit. Like he kind of understood that, oh, this is the NFL. Like things aren't going to be as, I don't know if I want to call it easy as college, but things are a lot different. And I kind of feel like he thought more about that and what he needs to do. But he also said the same thing where he didn't like his feet work. He feel like he missed a couple of throws. So it was accountability. And the same thing for Shane Waldron as well, as far as on accountability scale. He didn't go out there and say, oh, that was just part of the game plan, which is why I hate when coaches, offensive coordinators, or any coordinator say, oh, it was part of the game plan. He says that, there was mistakes being made, and we need to go out there and change those mistakes. So that's why I liked from what I heard from them, man. But let's go to the biggest thing coming out this week, injury concerns. So we talked about it on Monday's show. Injury we didn't know happened until Monday. Rome sprained MCL, nothing too serious. He didn't practice Wednesday or Thursday, but he practiced in limited condition today. Keenan Allen did not practice all week, and they are both listed as questionable on the depth chart. On the injury report, but Flukes kind of explained it like they'll more be day-to-day and game time decision. And I think this is going to go right up into warm-ups on Sunday night. The good thing is that Rome actually practiced in some type of fashion today, and also the fact that he was, confirmed by a doctor that he doesn't have to worry about any further injuries. So I think that's amazing news. I think that one of the two are going to play. Wouldn't surprise me if both play, but I think that they're going to let Rome rest. I personally will let Rome rest as well, even if he can go on Sunday. I don't think there's any problem with giving him more time off, because he's younger. You have more of a future in him. Keenan is a vet. I don't even know if we all know about the heel injuries, kind of had it towards the end of camp, but I think more that this might just be trying to get him off his feet this week. And he's a vet. He's been in the game for a minute. He can go out there and play anyway. Now, if they're out both, that's a major problem that I think will have to be addressed. But I think that at least one of the two will play this week. Mikey, what do you feel about these injuries? What concern level you have, and do you think they're going to play on Sunday?
I'd be extremely worried if Keenan Allen doesn't play, just because, kind of like you said, with Rome, it's going to really be 50-50. I know when he was in Washington, there were some moments where he had some injuries. He had an issue with his ribs, and he just dug it out, and he still played. I think he's young. I think it could go both ways. You can be young and you can protect your top 10 wide receiver and save him for down the season, or you can be young and full of adrenaline and be like, no, I'm good. So the fact that it's gonna be going down to that 90-minute mark, before kickoff is interesting for me. Now, I thought they were going to be giving Keenan Allen kind of just like, how you kind of see those veteran days off. But it seems like this is a real issue. And I know he missed the last 4 games of last season with this heel issue. So that one I'm a little bit worried about, because if you're down both of them, then if things get, it's an uphill battle. Now you got to work in DJ Moore with Tyler Scott opposite of him, and you're going to have to kind of go really heavy on the tight end usage with Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett. But I actually do think that we see Rome Odunze on the field this week. I actually think that we see Rome and we don't see Keenan. Something just tells me that he's going to play. So, we'll see from there.
Yeah, that would be kind of weird if Keenan sat out, and I think that would say more to the severity of his injury if Rome was out there. I think either way, the way that Ryan Poles has built this offense is that they can go out there and not have their full complement and still be at least to be able to compete. We'll get into game plan and stuff in a minute, but Dante, where are you at with these injuries?
I'm not gonna say I'm the exact opposite, because I do think we probably see Rome. I'm more 60-40 on us seeing Rome, but I think Keenan not practicing is more so just him being a vet, and like if he could possibly play. I think I'm more 70-30 on Keenan. Like him not practicing is not something that really concerns me. Even if they choose to sit him, I'm not concerned, because like I said, my prediction for Keenan was 15 games this year. He's pretty much averaged around 15 games the last 4 seasons. So I know he's going to sit out some games, and I'd much rather him sit out some games now as opposed to if we're trying to make a playoff push at the end of the year. So I'm not too concerned. I think I'm with you. And Shane Waldron, he acknowledged that he didn't do a good job of having his best players out on the field together. So hopefully he does a job of once we have a set group of personnel, we know who's available, who's not. You put your best people out there. You try to do that. And like you said, I agree. He didn't use tight ends too much in Seattle, but like knowing that you have Cole Kmet and you brought in Gerald Everett, use them. Like they got to get more than 20. I think the max they had was like 26 snaps.
Yeah, and that didn't make sense to me in general, like the whole snap situation. Like I don't understand. I get it's early, that's why I'm not putting too much on it. Like I do think the grace we give the rookie quarterback, the same kind of be for Shane Waldron a little bit too, because this is his first time with this team. He's trying to figure out different rotations and things like that to use, but I just don't understand. What I'm saying, that you don't use the people you like. You had all of them on the same play for like 10 snaps. That can't happen, man. This goes right into go ahead, my bad.
No, yeah, and it kind of ties into like how we were talking about, in the preseason preview and on previous shows. Shane Waldron is very important in all of this and in this season. That's why he was listed as my number 1 coach for that reason. And how is he going to be able to use these guys, and if he's going to use them to their full potential?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, man. Let's talk about the game plan. The game plan that needs to happen on Sunday night. For me, what I want to see is more dedication in running the ball, and more specifically, dedication with getting the ball to DeAndre Swift. I'm not really here for the double running back thing, and that's not nothing against Khalil Herbert. I think Khalil Herbert should be used in certain spots. But I think you got to go out there and you got to ride DeAndre Smith. Pause. You paid him that money. We all know what kind of back he is. And that's the type of stuff I want to see this weekend, so that it opened up things for the passing game. Do more play action. We really saw no play action on Sunday. And figure out, use the guy, especially if you're going to be down either Keenan or Rome this week. Rely on your running backs, rely on your tight ends. And also, I just need to see them sustain drives, because there's one thing we saw from Sunday was the time of possession. The time of possession far outweighed the Tennessee Titans was long as they were on the field compared to what the Bears were on the field. You can't have that happen against a much better offense and a much better quarterback that they got there in Houston. So I need to see some more long, sustained drives. I need to see smarter play calling on second and short, on third and short. You do that. So I feel like last 2 years kind of felt like this team is going brain dead on second and 5, third and 5, and less. Like it shouldn't be 3rd and 1. And I'm sitting up here wondering, can they really get this 1 yard? There needs to be smarter plays from that perspective. And I just need to see growth from everybody. I don't want to keep hearing about these weapons if you're not going to use them. So I really want Shane Waldron to come into this game on Sunday with plans for everybody, get them all involved. Get Gerald Everett involved, get Cole Kmet involved, so it'll make the loss of a Keenan or Rome if they don't play less significant and make the game easier for your rookie quarterback. Dante, what do you want? What did you like in the offensive game plan on Sunday, and what do you want changed and hope gets changed on Sunday?
I hope, like, again, we established the run and have our best people available. I want to see Roschon Johnson. I also want to see Tyler Scott out there, because I think if you're going to have Caleb throw the ball, you need to have that deep downfield threat available. But we have to establish the run. I think, I understand we're excited that we have this new quarterback. You feel me? Like we have this shiny new toy, but you don't have to get out there and try to drop back and do all this bullshit. I feel like Waldron, he acknowledged this. He couldn't get into a rhythm because he was trying to do a little bit of everything. It was like he was going to different parts of his play sheet, just picking shit off. Like, all right, let's try this. Throughout the game, you saw the best moments from Caleb were when he went no huddle and he was able to get into a rhythm. So, we need to get the plays in quick. Offensive line, they have to rebound. This is going to be a tough game for them, though, because this defensive line is legit. So we need to see them definitely rebound and play better. As far as the game plan, I really outside of establish the run, bro. If you can establish the run, eat the clock, that will open things up for Caleb, as opposed to him trying to go out there and find things and make things happen. Like, just let the game come to him. And if we start with the run, get back to a little old school football, I think that'll help him tremendously in getting his footing and really just getting into a rhythm out there.
Mikey, what do you think about the game plan, what that needs to be?
I think this game, I know we have two shiny quarterbacks and, skilled players on the outside and wide receivers all over the field. But I think this game is going to come down to the relying on the run game on both sides. Can you run the ball effectively, and can you stop the run, defensively? For offense, for the Bears, I would like to see some usage out of DeAndre Swift that rivals what we saw Joe Mixon do last week. Joe Mixon had 30 carries for 159 yards, and I'm not saying Swift is going to run for 159 yards, but 30 carries, that's a lot. And not to mention, he had 3 receptions in the passing game on 3 targets. That's 33 touches for your, kind of dual-purpose running back. In Joe Mixon. I think that's the type of game plan that Shane Waldron needs to kind of dial up for DeAndre Swift, use him early and often. If they can go ahead and open up the run game with Swift and open up those running lanes, then it will make it easier for Caleb to kind of roll out and do the things that they like to do out of play action. On the other side of that, the Bears need to find a way to contain Joe Mixon, whether that's in the passing game or the running game. Obviously, for me, he's going to be the number one person that they need to stop, because if they can stop the running game, then, you have to force CJ Stroud to go ahead and make throws. And we know he can do it. We've seen him do it all season long. But after a while, dropping back, I have confidence that this pass rush will be able to kind of, go ahead and put some pressure on him. So the run game is key. You have to be able to stop Joe Mixon, and you have to establish it early and often with DeAndre Swift. And I'm going to be interested to see if the Bears do win the coin toss, if they defer how they normally do, or if they actually go ahead and get the offense out there first and let the offense kind of, similar to how we seen them do in the preseason when they struggled those first couple drives against the Bengals second team. They went ahead and they let them run back out there and get that confidence and end on a positive note. I want to see if they actually receive the ball this game, if given the opportunity, and start on offense, to kind of apply some pressure on D'Amico Ryan's defense.
If you're a Flus, would you take the ball first? Because I'm old school. I always wanted to have, because I feel like if you go out there and it doesn't go the way you want it, then you put yourself in a bad position. Now Cleveland goes out, Houston goes out there, they get the points, and then they get the ball at halftime. Like, to me, it's dicey. I'm not mad at that dude. It goes a real aggressive approach, but what would you do if you were Flus?
For me, knowing everything that we know, it's going to be a whiteout. They're going to open up the roof. It's Sunday Night Football. They haven't had really, a game like this in the regular season in a long time. I'm probably taking the ball, because the last thing I want to do is have my defense playing, on the back of their heels. And the last thing you need is that team to come out 6, 7, 8 play drive and put up 7 on you right out the gate. Now you're putting your rookie quarterback, starting from behind, in what should be a hostile environment. Now, I know that the crib is going to show out, and it's going to be a heavy mix. But at the end of the day, we know that Texas, that the residents of Texas love their football, and there is a big contingent of Houston Texans fans that are going to show out. So I think you want to put your offense and your young quarterback in an advantageous spot, and the risk of them going down 7-0 early, that might be a lot, asking for your quarterback his first true road game.
Yeah, I think that's interesting too, because the crowd thing is definitely, I feel like, gonna be kind of a mixed bag. I do think it will be majority Texans fans. This is not like a SoFi situation where every team's opposing fan base comes in there and runs it in there. I think there will be a lot of orange in the crowd, and it'll be a large contingent of Bears fans there, but it's gonna be a lot of Texas fans. They got a great team. They love football out there in Houston, and they've supported this team pretty well. I don't think we ever heard any jokes about Texans fans not having good crowds. Really interested to see how they're going to this is a big time game for the Bears in prime time as well, because what was the last big prime time game they've had? Like, it's been a couple years since the Bears had a big prime time game as well. I'm trying to remember the last one that they had.
The last big prime time game.
Yeah.
Where they were actually competitive, where they had some type of
I don't even know
hopes and aspirations. I mean, that would have to be the
2018, 2019.
Any type of Nagy year. I mean, the biggest game since then that they played in was that gimme playoff game in New Orleans.
I would say that home opener against not home opener, that season opener against Green Bay, where they just laid a fucking dud.
That's true. In the America's game of the week. Right.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, you talking about last year? Well, if you want to do the last primetime game, it would have to be that 2019 opener, where the hype was so big around the Bears.
The 100th year. Yeah, it was like 10-9 or something, some bullshit score.
Yeah, it wasn't even like, for the first time in NFL history, they didn't even put the reigning champion. The Chiefs didn't get their rings that night. They were in Chicago. I remember how much hype was there, and the niggas didn't even score a touchdown. So I think that's going to be a big moment for this as well, because you got a lot of these players. Even if we go back to that game was 5 years ago. Outside of Patrick Scales, who else is on that team in 2019 that's still here? Nobody, I don't think.
I'll give you one better. The Bears have lost their last 15 Sunday road games.
15?
The last 15. I mean, look at the record the last 2 years. Their last 15 Sunday road games. When they win and beat DC, remember that was a Thursday game.
That was Thursday night. That's Thursday night.
They have lost their last 15 Sunday road games.
We have been asked,
for 2 years. Yeah, we've been asked since Ryan Post. I mean, since Ryan Post came over, because it's been a rebuilding situation since he's been in. This is what, year 3 or 4?
This is year 3. It's year 3.
Year 3.
Year
2
3.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years adjusting. And
Yeah.
This year 3. Let's talk about our quarterback. Dante, did I go to you? I didn't skip you, did I?
No, I went first.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, I'm tripping. So we're gonna go to Caleb. All the pressure, but all eyes on Caleb Williams. I think that for the most part, it was sane coverage this week. I didn't see anybody nationally or locally, personality wise. I'm not talking about the fans who Mikey said they were calling for Tyson Bagent on the radio.
That shit was fucking disgusting today, bro.
That
shit was disgusting. Talking about, hey, I'm tired of us spoon feeding quarterbacks. You spoon fed Justin. You're spoon feeding Caleb. What about Tyson Bagent? They said we got this guy. He's 6'3", and then he played like a superstar when given a chance. And Yurko said, "Hold on now." Yurko was like, "Tell me what his record was. Tell me what you saw." It's like he played decent. Superstar,
he played okay. Superstar is nuts.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then, it was like 3 callers in a row. I was like, I gotta get out of this car.
That's why I've given up Chicago radio. I gave that up a couple years ago because I just can't deal with it. But as far as the personalities and people who actually talk about the sport, I think I saw pretty tame coverage, and for the most part, everybody said they had no concerns. So now we got to talk about what Caleb needs to do this week, and I think it's real simple. I don't think Caleb is a man who succumbs to pressure. I mean, obviously he's rookie, so we don't really know. College is different than the NFL. But I keep telling people USC is LA's pro team. It's not the Rams. It's definitely not the Chargers. So he faced pressure, especially with such a mediocre season they had last year. I expect him to be better than he was last week. I don't know how much better he's going to be. I do think it's going to take probably a good month for this offense to look the way that we want it to look. And even when it gets to that point, I still think he's going to have some struggles. He's a rookie. And I think that's something where I said earlier where I feel like a little reality got knocked into Caleb. I feel like a little reality got locked to a little bit of Bears fans as well. Like no matter how much hype, he's still a rookie. And that's not saying that he's going to be bad. That's not saying that, he's not going to have great games. Even if he went out there and had 350 yards passing and 4 touchdowns, you can always take week 1 with a grain of salt because week 1 is lies a lot of times. So I want to see him not rush the feet like he was talking about, execute on the throws when you get the wide open guys. That was a lot of wide open people. DeAndre Carter was open a couple times last week. Keenan Allen, and keep feeding your beast. Feed DJ Moore. Give him the rock. Get Cole Kmet in there. Get Gerald Everett. Get everybody and spread the ball around. And also, I'll say this too, which is actually kind of funny because last year we would always ask Justin to throw the ball. Caleb, there was a couple times last week he could have ran. I know he don't like running, but if there's an opportunity, and I'm not saying run and forget the pass, do what you did in that preseason game against the Bengals. Run while still looking for the intention to pass. I feel that's going to make the defense more honest, and I feel that'll really, really open up things for this offense. Dante, what do you want to see from Caleb, and what do you think he needs to do to have a much better game than he had last week?
Take what they give you at first. I feel like a lot of time he holds onto the ball to make a splash play because that's what he does. That's what he likes to do. But at the same time, now that you're in the league and everybody's running that 4-4, everybody has speed, everybody is all over the place. You really need to when you see that quick 6-yard gain, just take that. Sometimes just do that to build a rhythm with the offense. I think that'll help him out a lot. I think last week you had some plays where he had guys coming across the middle, or he had check downs that he could have hit 4, 5 yards here, 7 yards there. And he was, instead looking at that second and third level, trying to make the big splash plays in his home debut. So I think really just more than anything, I just want to see him take his time, take what the defense gives him. Like I said, again, it's all dependent on the O-line holding up. If they can hold up, especially the interior, he would be okay. But I think, just really continuing to adapt to the speed of the NFL. And as he does that, his skill will take care of the rest. So, I think, I forgot which quarterback said it, but he has to just stop thinking and just play. I think it was CJ. Matter of fact, CJ Stroud said it. Just stop thinking and just play. Be yourself.
Did CJ say this? CJ still doing his pod?
Oh no, he had said something too. He had said something too. You don't have to be. You don't have to make the superhero play every time.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I mean, I echo
Take the
everything
layup.
Dante
Take
said.
the layup.
Yeah,
is what you
yeah,
said.
basically, and I think I echo what Dante said and what you said, just far as like the footwork and all of that. But for me, the biggest thing is be you. Like in the page of Matt Nagy, be you. Like I don't want to see his confidence diminished. He seems like a very confident kid. He's sure of himself, and just continue to be that person because nothing I saw last week is leading me to believe that he's not going to be good. I just think it was really just operation wise, footwork wise, and just missing some throws. I think he was over amped up. We talked about it. We talked about it on Monday. There was some throws. It was one to Rome where he just completely like dirted trying to throw it in 104 miles per hour. And I think he even said that in his presser on Wednesday. He said he was a little bit juiced up. So just continue to have confidence. I think he's seeing the field well. I don't believe that the Bears are going to see another interior pass rush as deadly as what they saw against the Titans, and that's where a lot of that stuff was coming in. On the ball to Keenan Allen, there's nothing you can do about that, Caleb. It was a beautiful route. It was a beautiful decision. He was quick, decisive. I believe they came out with. He was basically letting the ball go out in 2.7 seconds. Like, that's what you want to see. You want to see. So, I just continue to be you. And I think it'll be good to get in a hostile environment. We know that he kind of plays with that chip on his shoulder and just, kind of ball out. One thing that I do agree with you, Scott, is there are going to be running lanes for him. Anthony Richardson, last week, he threw for 212, not the best passing day, 9 for 19, but he also had 56 on the ground. So kind of just mixing that balance, especially if you're going to be out with, if you potentially are going to be out with two of your top targets, you got to kind of do everything that you got to, that you can to move the stick. So I think I definitely want to see him use his legs this week.
Yeah, don't be. I feel like you just kind of said. Like I know he don't love using it, but make the defense as honest as possible. I don't want to see this nigga running all the time either, especially because I don't think he's that fast. He's decent, but I think last week he learned these niggas is running 4.2s, nigga, and play defensive end. And I think you're right. The interior won't be a problem, but you still got a beast. Will Anderson coming off the edge. Danielle Hunter bodies the Bears every time he plays them niggas. So there's gonna be some problems. I want to talk about the offensive line. I didn't have that on the rundown, but I don't know why I didn't put it on there. Ryan Bates is out for the week, so there won't be any interchanging things. Nate Davis will be starting at right guard this week. Matt Ufu said he had a good week of practice. I don't know what the fuck that means at this point with Nate Davis. But for me, I'm more concerned about how it looked in the running game to me more than it looked in the passing game. There were certain parts in the passing game, well, obviously it wasn't great. And even the big sack pause that you said, Mikey, was because he tripped on Tevin Jenkins. The running game blocking was terrible. And that's why I feel like made a lot of those passing downs more difficult. I want to see the run blocking be better than it was last week. Dante, what do you think about what this offensive line needs to do differently to give Caleb and his offense the best chance to put up some points?
I mean, I feel you with the run blocking, but I think whether it's run blocking or pass blocking, it all starts with the interior. Like we got to see more from that interior. They were missing assignments, just flat out fucking up, flat out just being bad on some plays. So if we're going to have a solid offense, we've been saying this for 4 years. It starts with, for 3 years, longer than that, because we didn't have one when Mitch was here, because that was part of his issue. But we just have to have a solid offensive line. I feel like we've solved our tackle issues. Both of our tackles are beyond solid. Tevin is cool, but we just got to see more, man, from the interior. Nate Davis, if he gonna play, he got to play, man. Like, he got to hoop. Like, this whole just being in there, like, feel like there were plays where he was just out there floating. Like, how, back in the day when your controller gets stuck and the nigga just starts sliding across the screen.
Nigga just be doing this.
It's like, it was fucking terrible, bro. So, it's just, man. So, like y'all said, and like the comments just said right here, the Titans, we do got to tip our cap to them. They have a a solid defensive
sure.
line, and they run blitz and was
An underrated defensive line.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. That's what I was trying to tell Bang. Like, obviously, if you ain't got a quarterback, you ain't got shit. So that they are gonna suck because of Will Levis, or lose some games because of Will Levis. But
I don't think they're gonna be
legit.
That homecoming game that niggas think they're gonna be. Like, I think
not at all.
I think they're gonna upset some niggas. I know Courtney is listening to this, like I told y'all. But yeah, and just like Orlando, like you said, it's now or never for Nate Davis. Mikey, just quickly, what you think about the offensive line and what you want to see them do differently?
Well, I think this week we're going to kind of get the full scope of where the offensive line is. Last week, the interior O-line was, that spotlight was flashed on them, that's a weak spot. And now we're going to see a different type of defense where the tackles are going to be the ones with the spotlight on them. So for me, definitely Tevin Jenkins, especially Tevin Jenkins in the run game, because the Bears are going to want to run that outside zone scheme. And, you have to be able to get out there, maintain your blocks. For me, I'm anxious because I had tweeted this shit like in July, but I had basically called Ryan Bates Lucas Patrick 2.0. And I'm, I don't want to go there yet, but listen,
he pulling up the Boulevard.
It's starting off eerily similar. That's who they wanted, Lucas Patrick heavy. They finally got him injured right away. Never really worked out. We're kind of looking at that with Ryan Bates. So for me, Nate Davis. It really does start with Nate Davis.
Yeah.
He is your highest paid offensive player. He is, when healthy and engaged, your best right guard. So let's just see what type of performance he puts out there today. Tevin Jenkins needs to play better. Darnell Wright is going to have his hands full because I'm sure that they're going to alternate, which side Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter get on there. And then for me, they just really need to keep an eye out for the Texans rookie safety, Kalen Bullock. He's very familiar with Caleb Williams. That was his teammate at USC, and he's kind of their version of Kyler Gordon. He's got 4.4 speed, so he's going to be a bullet coming downhill, and that's going to be something that I think they're going to try to run a lot of stunts and sending blitzes to Caleb Williams, and that's going to be something that's going to try to they're going to utilize. D'Amico Ryans is going to utilize to kind of affect the running game and the passing game. So the O-line has to be in unison. Kari Blasingame, I know he's out this week, last week he had a terrible block attempt in which, it caused a deflection, which could have, it could have ended up being a big play for Caleb in the passing game. So everybody all around needs to be better, even down to the running backs in the blocking game, because the tape is out there. Whereas last week there was really no tape on the Titans, new defensive coordinator and how they do things up. There's tape out there on the Texans and how they want to go ahead and attack rookie quarterbacks. And we know D'Amico Ryans is going to be aggressive. So they're going to have to hold up their blocks. And, it can all start with the running game, though. If they can push some people back, then, I think that they have a good shot.
Definitely, man. You already touched on it, Mikey, so we'll just be me and Dante on this one, the defensive game plan. Just quickly on this, and then we'll make our picks, and then we'll bring Courtney in. This to me is a big game for the defense as well. I know everybody's talking about the offense, rightfully so, especially with all the big game that the defense had last week. But you're going up against a much better offense than you did last week. This is not Will Levis you're going up against. You're going up against CJ Stroud, a guy who doesn't make that many mistakes on the turnover side. I don't know how many fumbles that nigga had, but he only threw 5 picks last year. I saw Orlando put in the chat, he almost threw 2 picks, but almost, in the words of Lamar Park legend Moesha, almost don't count, my nigga. It don't matter how many he almost threw. You're going to have a bigger game. The things that you got away with Will Levis last week, you're not getting away with this week. The secondary really going to be put to work. They've got some good wide receivers over there. We already know what Stephon Diggs can do. Stephon Diggs had 2 touchdowns in his Texans debut last week. Tank Dell picking off right where he left off last year. But like you said, Mikey, the key here is Joe Mixon. That nigga had 30 carries last week. That's old school football. Also like the backup running back over there in San Francisco. He had 28 carries, real old school. If you can slow that down and make CJ throw the ball more, you have a good chance. But going to have to stop the short passing game as well. That's something they like to do as well. So I'm really looking forward to see if they can clean up some mistakes that they had last week. Dante, just quickly give me what you want to see defensively from this team, and then we'll go to our picks.
I think it's another opportunity to make a statement. We talked about this defense and everything they did on the back half of last season. Let's see you do it for a full year, and then we can talk about them being elite. So I think this is another opportunity. You have a solid wide receiver. Really, well, I'm only going to say solid. You have a good wide receiver core in the Texans. You have an offense, like you said, that does like to establish the run. So, if you can stop them, if you can put up another game where, hold them to less than 20, I feel like that's another quality notch on their belt. So I think for this defense, as far as the game plan, I don't need to see much change. I know a lot of times when we're watching the game, we're like, damn, man, we're not blitzing enough. Flus is just sending four. But as you saw, he does make adjustments. And, I think it's more so about the timing of these blitzes. But if CJ is sitting back there lighting us up, I would like to see more people get involved in that rush. But for right now, that's I'm solid with that. That's really my main thing. The game plan from yesterday was last Sunday was cool. I know we'll see something similar, and they just adjust to the type of weapons that they have in Houston. But I don't need to see much different. I just hope if we do get to a point where they're just moving the ball, start blitzing and trying to put pressure on CJ Stroud.
I think you hit the nail on the head. If you want to be a lead defense, you got to shut down good to great to elite offenses, man. We're going to give our predictions for this game. I said it since the schedule came out. I had this as the scheduled loss. In my opinion, doesn't change on this one. I think that the Texans going to win this one 28-14. I think the Bears offense looks better than it does last week. I think that Caleb does get his first passing touchdown. And I do think DeAndre Swift will get in the end zone. I think the defense, it's not, I know the score looks like it's like damn near a blowout, but I think it's going to be a close game towards the end. I think the problem that the Bears are going to that they're going to face is, having to go bam for bam with CJ Stroud. I just don't think that this offense is at that point yet where they can do that. So I think towards the end, the Bears might trip on their feet, and I think that, it'll be a game-sealing touchdown, probably with under 5 minutes left in the game. That's why I got Houston this one 28 to the Bears 14. Mikey, how you got this one going?
I'm putting my nuts on the table. Bears win. I got it 26-23. I think that they're going to be able to kind of move the ball on this defense. This defense is going to be susceptible to big plays downfield. We saw that last week with that Anthony Richardson highlight, and that was one area where they're burnt. They played nickel 88% of the time. So there's going to be opportunity, but it's going to start with the run game. For me, honestly, this game comes down to time of possession. I don't know if y'all saw this last week, but the Texans had the ball, time of possession, 40 minutes last week versus the Colts, where the Colts only had it for 20. The Texans defense was only on the field for 2 minutes in the third quarter and 3 minutes in the fourth quarter. They had 26 first downs, 417 total yards. This Bears defense is not going to allow that. If this Bears defense does allow that, then I think we have bigger problems. Looking down the road, I think that this game is going to be condensed. I think it's going to be tight all the way through. I do not think the Texans should be 6.5-point favorites. I have this more as a 3.5-point game. I'm riding with the Bears in the upset, 26-23.
Oh, that would be big heading into what Pat McAfee called the Loud House next week in Indianapolis. Dante, how you got this game going?
When we did our season preview, I said this was the game that was going to be our national coming out party. So I'm still going to pick the Bears to win. I got it, I would say 27-24. And it all goes back to, again, what I said last week, where he played so bad last week. I wouldn't be shocked if he had a great game on Sunday night. Like, I know we talking everything about our offensive line concerns, but, the talent is still there with Caleb. And whether he has one of his weapons or three of his weapons, I think if he can just take what's given to him and then make the big plays as they arise, I think this is going to be a really good game, and we'll get the ball, and he'll lead the Bears down for that game-winning field goal. So I got 27-24 Bears on Sunday night.
Let's get it,
man. I would love for that to happen. That means it'll be a good night in Houston. I'm looking forward to getting to Houston this weekend. Tell Bun B I'm pulling up, nigga. I'm trying to see what's up with them Trill Burgers, bro. I'm trying to see what's up. I ain't got that much to do on Monday before the show. So I'm trying to see what's up with that, man. But we're gonna take a quick 1 minute break. When we come back, Courtney will join us on the other side, and we're gonna talk about last night's Thursday night football game, man. Doesn't look too good for the Miami Dolphins. We'll be right back.
So cool. So cool.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna.
Welcome back, ladies. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We got Courtney back in here. Courtney, what's going on?
What's going on? Where's Bang? Did I scare him off? My bad.
And I'm mad Bang wasn't on here. I was gonna all right, shake hands now. No,
I
Bang's
thought we
back.
were all good. We've been up here giggling in the group chat. I thought it's only entertainment.
It is all good. I told Ben, like, everybody just got to piece it up. But no, that nigga's Mac died. His MacBook died, so he couldn't join the show. And I told him to show on the iPad. He decided to be a good father and gave it to his son. So
Good
hopefully
for
he'll
him.
be.
I hope
Yeah.
the kid enjoys the Roblox or whatever.
So he won't be back till next Friday because he's gonna be out of town on Monday as well. So Courtney, how you feeling? Big football weekend coming up. How you feeling?
Well, you know, Arizona started out 3-0. Admittedly, that's mostly what I was watching yesterday. Yes, I am a college football sicko, and I was watching Arizona State versus Texas State on a Thursday more than that Bills Miami game. Which, listen, I had it on, but like I didn't miss too much because that was ugly in many ways. But that was an ugly game.
Ugly in many ways. When you said that you were watching that, we were all like, "Huh? What's going on over there?"
Like, what the fuck is she talking about?
This is a big deal. Arizona State only won 3 games last season, and we were expected to finish at the bottom of the Big 12. So the fact that we've already tied our win total from last season is a big step for the program. They can absolutely have all my money now.
Well, shout out to Arizona State. Shout out to everybody watching on Instagram as well. Shout out to IG Live for not cutting off after an hour. So shout out to y'all. But last night, Thursday night football, the first official Thursday night football of the season. This is Amazon's 3rd year having Thursday night football, and that's how streams should look. Peacock. That's how streams should look. How Amazon stream look. Nice, crisp, clear, in 4K. I don't know what that crap was last Friday that y'all pulled over there in Brazil. And honestly, not even that. Y'all pulled it in the Olympics too. The Olympics quality was trash as well. So y'all need to get that together. There's going to be more Peacock gangs, not just for the NFL, but for the NBA. I'm going to need y'all to clear that up. But Bills went 2-0 last night. We'll get into the Bills side of things later on in the show. They won 31-10. We'll talk about Josh Allen, gunslingers, and all that. But we need to talk about the story of the day, and that is Tua. He went out again, another concussion again. This is like the 4th one he's had in the last 3 seasons. He did not return to the game, and looks like he's going to be out this weekend in the next game. And this is a game they're also going to need as well for them. And let's be real, he wasn't good when he played. He went 17-25, 145 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 3 picks, and those 3 picks were terrible. Those 3 picks were god-awful, like to the point where I had to actually tell myself that's not a Dolphin wide receiver he's throwing to. So out on the football side, I was like, oh my God, they just paid him. But then I saw him getting knocked out. And by the way, talk about irony. The nigga who knocked him out, DeMar Hamlin, you don't talk about irony. To see everything going on with that was crazy. And now you're thinking about the Dolphins in general. The conversation today, I feel like has been needed when you're talking about, concussions and the state of football. We saw his cousin. I didn't know Manti Te'o was his cousin, but Man, that's something I learned today, man. Tateo.
I don't think it's actually his cousin.
So they play cousins.
Yeah, I
okay.
think it's like a kind of like a cultural thing.
Okay, all right, because he was on there talking like,
it's like us Puerto Ricans. Everybody's our cousin.
Everybody's
I mean, that's the minority jump. Black people. I got so many cousins.
Right.
I call my cousins. They my actual cousins. So I didn't know if they were actually related. Because what he said it was from a family member. Like, so I thought that maybe they're actually.
Yeah, no, like he calls his Tua's parents like auntie and uncle. It's kind of like it's a cultural thing.
Okay, so that I didn't know that they were play cousins. So shout out to this play cousin Mante. And by the way, every time I see Mante, I can't get over the original thing that we know that nigga from. That's still funny to me. 12 years later, still funny. But everybody is out there saying like, what he needs to do. Does he need to retire? I can't tell the man what he needs to do. Only he knows what he needs to do from his body. But I do as a viewer, and I don't get squirmish a lot, especially with football. But it looks to see that nigga's hands like go up like Caleb's bear claw or the little nigga from Scary Movie. This is my strong hand. To see that happen so many different times, it doesn't sit with you as well. And I do know he loves the game of football. I will be surprised if he does retire, but this is starting to become bigger and bigger of a conversation. If you're Miami, and not only just Miami, if you're Tua, you gotta start thinking a little bit about your own health. Courtney, tell me what you think about the situation that happened and just your overall opinion on it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm no doctor or anything, right? But like there are certain symptoms, and like even after you've recovered to a degree from concussions, like people are known to lose like parts of their vision after concussions, and so many concussions. I mean, listen, there's something in these football players where they feel like, this one play, I have to get this extra yardage, and maybe you do something like I'm literally yelling at the screen, like slide. But, and it's to no fault of DeMar Hamlin, right? Like it doesn't look like a hard hit. But God, it's an awful situation. It's an awful situation. You can't tell somebody what to do, like you said, but like, who was it that said, Mike McDaniel, like you've got a family, man. Like you've got to be there for them. Like what kind of man and father can you truly be to your family if you can't be there for them, regardless of how much money you might be leaving on the table, or you end up with, with the guaranteed money? Like your health is everything. That's priceless.
Definitely, it's priceless. Even Manti said as well, like, he said outside of the football player, you want to see him grow up and be around his kids. And there's also something too that Chris Long said. Shout out to Chris Long. I really enjoy his Green Light podcast. That's good football talk they got on there. And he said that when he retired, it was kind of the same thing and just wanted to be around for his kids. Like, I love the game, but I'll care more about my health more. So I really want to know what that process is going to be like. Mikey, what's your take on everything we saw last night?
Well, honestly, I had fallen asleep a little bit at halftime. My James Cook 2 TDs touchdown, that ticket that hit, so I was KO,
knocked out.
But I had woke up just in time to kind of see that drive. I was laying on the couch, and instantly when I saw it, I said, "Oh shit!" Like as he was running, I was like, "Oh shit!" But then instantly when he was on the ground, he was kind of already doing that thing with his arms, and I was like, "Ah, fuck." For somebody who's already, he had a concussion at Alabama. He had the two famous ones that we know about, in the 2022 season. Now this one, hip issues. I think right now he really needs to sit back and evaluate, like, what do I want to do with my life? And do I want to live, a life where my body is constantly in pain? I always look back at the Derrick Rose, the Derrick Rose sit down, and when he kind of said, like, I'm thinking about life when I get older, and, am I going to be able to walk, up and down stairs and be there for my kids' graduations? And people were, kind of making jokes about him about like, oh, it's just a knee, but it's really not. Like that's your life, like that is you. We only get one body. We only get one shot at this. So, to kind of like see now, like Tua going through that, like the jokes aside, because we will always make a joke out of everything. It was fucked up to see, and it was fucked up to see, and I would not be shocked if he were to retire. I mean, I look back at, probably the most famous person and playing at the peak of his game, NFL player to retire in my eyes is Luke Kuechly. He was at an all-pro level, 28 years old, and he had 3 concussions in 3 seasons, and he was just kind of like, I'm done. And the one that happened in 2016, he was literally crying on the fucking field, like he was crying when it happened. So I think it would behoove Tua to just go and sit down and talk to these people. Frank Wycheck, old Tennessee Titan, famous for, the Music City Miracle. He retired after 11 seasons, but he kind of cited, football stuff, his body being fucked up. And he had a concussion his last season. And he said he was certain he had CTE. He fell down in his crib, hit his head, and he died instantly. Like who knows what is happening, what is going on in his brain. And, Tua's young. He's got money.
He's got a lot of money.
Yeah, and looking at some of the guaranteed stuff with his contract, it's not as guaranteed as it seems. There are some clauses here, as much money as they make, these NFL teams are not just going to go ahead and hand somebody $142 million. So it seems like there's going to be a lot of litigation with that if that's the route he takes. But at this point, man, I think he does need to take his health into consideration, take, his future into consideration. And football is going to be here, but you only, are you going to be here? Are you going to be somebody that's going to live to be past 45, 48 years old? Are you going to be able to do the simple things? Look at Jim McMahon. Jim McMahon played a way tougher style of football. And his shit is like scrambled eggs, and that's not what you want to see. And there's the football side of this too. The Dolphins were hesitant and reluctant to go ahead and pay him due to his injury concerns. This is somebody who's got, hip surgery, ankle surgery, the concussions, and now they're faced with the issue of, what do we do long-term? Because I don't think you can bank on him.
Dante, I think that's a good kind of segue too. There's 2 points for you. What you think about what happened last night and kind of on the Dolphins' perspective, what they can do from it?
I think the Dolphins should do this exact same thing that the Miami Heat did with Chris Bosh. Like, make him medically retire. Like, don't take a. I mean, they don't have to. If they, from the language in this contract, if they force him to medically retire, then he's owed $146 million. If he just walks away, then he don't get shit. So, I mean, being honest, I know a lot of people say, this ain't charity. They're not going to just give away money. But for the sake of everything, the Dolphins could take the hit and give him that money and make that money back. So I think in this situation, like seeing the way, and I'm with you, like for me, I understand that football players get concussions all the time. We see them play through it. We see some get concussions and come out to the next week, which is absolutely insane. But at the same time, it's the way his body continues to seize up when he's getting these concussions. Like he's completely freezing up on the field. And this has been multiple times now. So, like, I'm with y'all. I think, you got to talk about his quality of life outside of football. You saw I finally saw the Mental speech today. That was, very heartfelt and very real. Like, it's bigger than football. And, yeah, we always talk this alpha male, be tough shit. But the reality is, bro, when you have a big-ass helmet on and that can't protect your brain, and remember, this season, Tua got a special helmet. And clearly that shit ain't that special because right. I mean, it wasn't a hard hit, and then happened again. So like, I think
he had been hit harder early in the game.
Yeah, bro. That's why I say if you the Dolphins, you gotta holler at them like, hey, bro, we actually care about you and don't want you to down this field. Like, so that's it. Wrap this shit up.
And for him, he's at risk of some freak shit because I don't know if you guys saw earlier on the first drive, Dalton Kincaid had got tackled and he was kind of trying to bring his head up and just somebody kind of like kicked him in the head walking by and his head bounced off. Like you're at risk of something like that down the line.
It's a freak accident.
Triggering effects. And it's just like, I don't know. Like Dante said it the right way. He's just seizing up and it looks fucked up. And I'm really shocked that he didn't consider, and this is that ego, because we also say, yeah, he got all this money, but this is obviously something that he worked for his entire life, and wanted to do. Especially being of his descent, you don't see many people coming from where he comes and being a starting quarterback. At a big time school, Alabama, then the Dolphins. So obviously, he's fighting that internal battle plus the physical battle plus the outside battle of what his family, his friends, his coaches, his loved ones telling him. But it's gotten to the point where, my man, like, you're really putting yourself at risk here, and I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it either. And I think too, the thing to kind of tie it in what the Dolphins should do, like, to me, it's like I think you said, Courtney, that they didn't want to give Tua the money to begin with. So I think that,
like, I'm not trying to be rude, but like, and again, this is not the proper time per se to have that conversation. But like, if you're trying to get out of it, it's not the worst time, and that sounds terrible.
It sounds messed up, but like from a business perspective,
similarly with the Deshaun Watson situation. Again, I'm not condoning it. I don't agree with it. But if from a business standpoint, right, the person that you thought you were getting is not who you are getting. So it's an opportune time if you are looking to pivot. And again, I'm not saying that I agree with it, nor do I condone it. I'm just acknowledging what I'm sure a lot of people in that front office are having conversations about.
I mean, but even,
go ahead, Scott.
No, I'm just going to, even just like what you're saying, like, yeah, it's not the right time, but also they're business. Like, so they also got to think about the future of the franchise. So I think that this franchise, obviously, Mike McDaniel, he walked them off the field, gave him a kiss on the head. They love and care for Tua. Like, we can say what we ever want to say about Tua on the field and his on-field production. He's a likable guy, not just in that Dolphins locker room, that Dolphins organization, but entire NFL. So I think it would be something where, if they have a conversation with him, that he's like, yo, we'll cash you out. You go about this way. And for the Dolphins' perspective, it's messed up this sound. We can suck, and we can go out here and try to get in this quarterback. The quarterbacks are going to be available next season in the draft. It's messed up, but that's the reality of the game. Go ahead, Mike.
No, yeah, I was going to hit on just what you said. It is still, there are two sides to this. Like, we understand, we care for the player and his health, but there's also the football side and the on-field product. And they're torn, but I think they're going to do the right thing. And like you said, they love him, they care for him. I think they're really going to kind of, push him to make a decision to step away from the game. Because nobody wants to see that. And God forbid, if you go ahead and you throw him back out there after being cleared and something happens again, and this kid suffers longer lasting damage or potentially dies, then
I'm sure you have to believe CTE is still really bad PR for the NFL.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Very bad PR for the league.
And for me, this is kind of what I wanted to hit on my last point, but I forgot about it. But I'm really surprised the NFL and the Dolphins and Tua weren't pushing him to be one of the first players to wear that Guardian cap, in this season, now that we know. I don't
know how much that impacts your brain sloshing around. It's like,
it's supposed to, but it's supposed to minimize their effects, but.
Yeah, I think he didn't wear it because everybody was raving about the new helmet he had this year. They're like, this helmet was supposed to be basically concussion proof. And like, clearly that's some bullshit.
Also, again, still very bad PR for the league. If someone who's known for concussions is wearing this cap, right? Like, that doesn't, the optics, I think, are just not great, right? Yeah, the helmet might have been special, but like, I just think the general optics of this guy wearing the helmet maybe isn't great because it takes you down the rabbit hole about CTE.
It's a reminder, like, oh yeah, especially if he's the only one out there wearing this, like, this motherfucker shouldn't be out there anyway, But I get it. It's a slippery. It's a
multifaceted conversation.
Right,
for sure.
right. We'll have a comedian Larry Legend in 5 minutes. There's also a certain side of talking about quarterback development that I want to get into after we talk to Larry. I feel like that's kind of a bigger conversation. But even back to the Dolphins thing, like outside of the injury perspective, like you said, Courtney, like I know sounds morbid saying death, but We just saw the DeMar Hamlin thing, and
Correct.
at that particular point, he didn't get beat. DeMar didn't have the history that Tua has had these last, even in college, like you said, Mikey. So he's in a more more liable for that to happen than it would be somebody else. And he's the quarterback. He's getting hit every play. So I feel like that perspective, and also the Dolphins can look at it from a back, like, take away the injury. I know that sounds messed up. He ain't been playing that well. Like that's also something you got to consider.
I'm not, again, that sounds terrible, but you can't tell me that somebody in that front office is not having that thought.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think it's going to be a real conversation. I think Samo in the chat said that sometimes you got to save people from themselves. And I don't even think it's an ego thing. Look, these people, these athletes, as much as us fans, media, we enjoy watching the game. Nobody loves it more than the athlete. They've been wanting to do this since kids. Like you said, Mike, it might be an ancestral type of pride for him to be somebody from, his race to actually be a starting quarterback in the NFL, be successful in that field. He doesn't want to feel like, he's letting them down. So I do think that's part of it. I don't know if this is a conversation that's going to happen right away. But it's something I don't want to hear anything about him playing anytime soon. If I'm not mistaken, Mike McDaniel already ruled him out for this Sunday. If I'm not mistaken, I think they're going with who's their backup?
Skylar Thompson.
Is who?
Skylar Thompson.
Skylar Thompson. Yeah, he played in that playoff game because Tua had the injury. I think the music we hear is Ryan Tannehill. I would probably bring him in. I know there was some talk about, the Packers called him, but he's looking for more of a long-term situation. That, to me, whether he's not medically cleared to play or whether they do send him off for the Chris Bosh. And I think I didn't even think about Chris Bosh, Dante. You brought up a good point. They had to save Bosh from himself. Like, he was in danger of losing his life hooping with those blood clots. So it's going to have to be an actual conversation that's going to have to be had. And I really interested to see how that's go about. Any final thoughts before we wrap this topic up?
Not for me. Get well soon, dog.
Get well soon. We're going to bring in the homie Larry Legend. We'll bring Mikey and Courtney back in about 20 minutes, man. It's time for the first edition of Respect the Culture. This is one of the segments that we did bring back from last year. We have the homie comedian Larry Legend come in and give us his two thoughts, his 2 cents on what's going on in black culture, man. So let's bring Laro in. Laro, what's going on, my brother?
Going on, brothers? What's this? Our second season?
It's the second season. Glad to have you back.
Yes, sir. We getting it in again. Another year of randomness,
Another year. To say that it's been a week of randomness already, man.
Did that video fucked me up today? Like it's been a silly week. Wayne.
Yeah. We're gonna get into that.
Wayne talking like a goddamn hostage. I was like, come on, bro. Turn this shit off.
We're gonna get into that in just a minute. By the way, if you're not in tune, follow Larry right now. Follow him at Larry is Legend on Twitter and follow him at Larry is Legend 1 on Instagram. Let's just get right into it with our kind of what the main story that's been going on this week. We know week 1, Sunday, in the NFL, out of the Soldier Field when they announced that Kendrick Lamar would be performing at the Super Bowl as the main performer. He is also the first rapper to fully headline the Super Bowl, which is something through this whole week that I feel like it needs to be given more praise. We keep talking about who deserves it and who don't deserve it. Celebrate that black man for getting that accomplishment. When I tell you that everybody in the press box, and there's mainly white people in the press box, oh my goodness, Kendrick Lamar's performing. It was a big announcement. And then he dropped a new joint that came out right in the middle of our 79th and Hallis recording, which kind of sidetracked us for about 10 minutes. Didn't have an official name, but I'm guessing the name of the song is Let the Party Die, When the Party Dies. It's only on his Instagram, not on his YouTube, not on any DSPs. Laro, tell us what your opinion is about this week Kendrick has had, good and bad.
I just think it's the same old thing, as everybody's upset with him for the beef. I had a lot of backlash from stuff I tweeted about the whole situation, but it's truth behind it. Like, I don't feel like Lil Wayne even cared that much before people started making it a thing. Now he got to drop a video and, like you said, look hostage. He looked like he had to act like he cared. It's the same dude who didn't care about Black Lives Matter. He didn't care about police brutality. So now you're gonna tell me he cares about performing at the Super Bowl, and they've been to New Orleans at least like 6 times since he's been Lil Wayne. Like, so I think all of the outrage is crazy, but Kendrick, he wouldn't be facing it had he not taken away their king the way he did. If he didn't behead their king the way he did, if that beef never happened and they announced Kendrick Lamar as the headline for the Super Bowl, it wouldn't be we wouldn't be talking about it this much the way we're talking about it right now. We'd only be saying that's raw for him and we'd be moving on, because who really gives a fuck that much? Like, in our culture, who cares that much? This is the first few years that has been catered to us.
Yeah.
So it's like all of the extra hoopla and the outrage, the fake outrage, as I call it, it's just because he beat Drake. But, you know, the record says exactly what it needed to say, too. I love that record he dropped, just because that's how I've always felt, especially since like the industry has moved towards like TikTok and fast, like way faster. We already have been like microwavable, but now it's like this shit isn't even microwavable. It's straight out the fridge. We're gonna eat it. Like, they don't get niggas no time to cook. It's
throw some mayo, get some bread, nigga, like you making a sandwich.
You know what I'm saying?
Burgers, eating cold Pop-Tarts in this bitch.
Yeah.
It's a bad game we in right now. So I mean, I'm with the message behind the song. I know why he picked the beat he picked. He was on that. Like, it's bigger than dancing and rubbing your belly. Like, you got some other points with what we're gonna speak on that touch on this same thing, where, like, I mean, we don't have legends no more. We're not creating none no more. So, like, I feel like that record was about that. We letting the game get dictated by media, which has never been a thing in hip hop. Them niggas has always been like behind you with a pen and pad writing what you do. Now they the guys who tell you everything.
And these people ain't even real media. Like, that's the issue. I said, I tweeted, I tweeted a couple days ago, and a couple of my mentors like, that was harsh. I said, I don't root for downfalls, but I'm rooting for academics' downfall. I just don't I don't respect how he built his platform. And when I do this media space, I go out my way to tell people I'm not a journalist. I got too many journalist friends who I respect to call myself journalist. I'm more of a journalist than academics is. Like, and that's me why I had a problem with that. And he made his fortune off talking about what's going on in the city that all three of us are from, and I deserve. He needs something need to happen to him for that, and that's my issue I got with that, and that's what Kendrick touched on. But Lero, you had a good point. This had nothing to do with Kendrick. This ain't got nothing to do with Wayne. It's about the fact that Drake got knocked off the little pedestal that he's in. What did you think about the video that we saw from Weezy this morning,
bro? I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't even watch it. I saw like the first 3 seconds and I turned it off because I heard the way he was talking and I just knew it was not real. Like, it was almost like I gotta make this video because of the people. So I didn't even pay attention to it, bro. Honestly, like, when I saw that it was a thing, it was just another old y'all making him care about something. He don't never care. I mean, Lil Wayne don't care about nothing.
Nothing.
Didn't Young Thug try to kill him or something?
Birdman.
He did songs with the nigga after. Like, he got a lot of he don't give a fuck about nothing. Y'all want me to be convinced that he's really mad? And another point, I thought that regardless of when they announced Kendrick, my first thought was that Wayne probably was gonna come out with him at some point, or he was
I don't think that no more.
Not no more.
Yeah.
I don't.
They ruined it.
Yeah,
I don't want to see it. And he a Gemini like me, so we ain't really gonna bow down to that. It's like, oh, y'all fucked that up. It's your fault. Whatever.
Yeah. And thing to me that kind of stood out as well is like thing that I said on some sessions. This is just not a genuine conversation. When I saw the video, and it was not on purpose, when I woke up this morning, I opened up Instagram. That was the first video on there playing. One, like you said, Dante, look like he got kidnapped. Number two, it's just like, oh, I was feeling so bad. To me, it was kind of a reality check. Like, and not to say that Wayne isn't worthy of it, but I think we got the whole Dr. Dre thing and think that just because you're from that city that you should perform. And if if it made him feel so bad now, why you didn't feel bad 10 years ago when when it was in New Orleans, and actually would have made more sense for you to perform. He was hotter than he was now 10 years ago. So it was just, I don't have a problem feeling the way he feels. He's a human being. He should be able to go up there and say what he wants to say. But then do all that, not even congratulate Kendrick was just corny to me. And the actual record, and then we'll move on off this. The actual record to me, I enjoyed. We're getting into album season. I don't know when the album's coming. I'm done predicting. I know people who are close to Kendrick who have told me one thing and then something else happened because Kendrick is unpredictable. You never know what's happening with K. Dot. But I do believe this is the beginning of a rollout because the album is coming, not the album, but he's performing in 5 months. And I hate the way we break down music because you think that's a Drake dish, you need to get your ears checked. To me, it was a warning to the industry. And no matter how you feel about Kendrick, he can perform. And the performance artist lost. We just saw LL Cool J rip it at the VMAs, and that nigga's like 60. And I don't think Wayne can put on that type of performance. And that's also the thing I think coming into it.
Yeah, no, I think Kendrick is definitely warming up to put out something new. But when it comes to the performance side, that's something else that people don't understand about him. He take this shit really seriously. Like I was talking to somebody today about where I rank Kendrick, and I don't really rank my rappers like that. I got my favorites who I don't think are the greatest rappers, but I think they my favorites, so they gonna be in my top 5. But like Kendrick is a guy who I feel like he took everything that everybody said was good about every other rapper and made his own thing. Like he is the combination of all the things that was great about rap. And so that goes into performing, that goes into being able to be deep, that goes into having substance, that goes into being able to just be silly, that goes into every single thing he do. Like my second song that I listened to him was Michael Jordan. That was the second song that
I love that song. Yeah.
And it was silly as hell, but I was like, damn, I'm fucking with this for some reason. It just caught me. And after that, I was listening to this nigga after that. I had to go back and listen to everything else before that I missed. And ever since then, I've been rocking with him, but he always moves it up another level. So it's like, he takes this craft very seriously. Like the same way that people praise Eminem about it, he's just as much as a student as him. And I feel like people got to give him his respect, especially like we talking about performing is like what he had one of the highest selling tours last year, if not the highest.
Yeah, he had these silence until Drake topped him with the last one. So yeah.
Right, and that's an all-time thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's all. It's a blur. Yeah, so he was number one, but he also toured longer than Drake. I didn't know that the Miss Morale tour just ended this year, so he went on the international leg as well. So, salute to Kendrick. And that's 5 months from now. We're not gonna be thinking about this when it comes to Super Bowl. It's gonna be a great performance, man. Let's move on. Let's talk about, man. We had unfortunately, a lot of death over these last week to 10 days. Of course, Rich homie Quan passing, and then over this past week, we lost the legends James Earl Jones and of course Frankie Beverly. Larry, just give us your thoughts on these three guys passing, especially the titans that are James Earl Jones and Frankie Beverly.
Yeah, I mean, rest in heaven to them both. I always say that instead of rest in peace, but I just feel like that with James Earl Jones, the career is long, extended. My first thought of him, shit, is really Claudine, low key. Like,
it's a throwback. Yeah,
he was the boyfriend who garbage man who had to sneak around because the people was waiting to see if she had a nigga. They was trying to get that check about her. But James Earl Jones' life, his career is extensive. I love that Denzel said that he modeled himself after him in a way that was like his biggest inspiration, because I could see it in him, even though they're not the same at all. And he said like he had to figure out something else because like James Earl Jones is the greatest voice of all time.
That man's Darth Vader.
Like, so many people like nigga, like The Sandlot, like come on, like we have so many little moments in big time, like Lion King. He was only in that bitch for 5 minutes, but he stood so strong on there. Or Coming to America, funny roles, just the nigga, the man. I'm sorry. He's definitely one of the greatest, and I'm happy that he was able to live to his 90s because that don't be happening for us a lot.
Definitely.
But like all the legends that passed, even Rich Homie Quan not a legend to me, but his
Yeah.
career was short and he was before his time, I would say that much. His incident was really weak. I hated the whole the girlfriend thing. That was way too much for me. I was like, oh my God, guy. Like this is the worst thing that could ever happen to anybody after they die. Even though you're dead, it's still bad for you. Like
Right.
Like, but you know, who else? Oh man, all white parties. Like,
yeah.
All white parties.
Yeah.
Like my brother's Reese's mom, she is like distraught right now because she'll wear all white and play Frankie Beverly. He wouldn't even be here. She'll just play him and wear all white. Nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know who this guy is. Like, and then it's like he is one of the most underrated of all of the big guys. Like, one of my guys just told me he taking Frankie over Earth, Wind, and Fire. So like, you know, you dig deep in those catalogs, which people are gonna go back now, but just another legend we lost, bro. And it's something I was like referring to earlier with the legends. It's we losing them and we not making no new ones.
Yeah, that's the we not making it. I think that's the big part there. Like I saw a video, I think the Isley brothers shared it on their Instagram. Was Frankie Beverly and Ron Isley. It was just good to see older black men, you know, show love to each other like that. And I think that was something that was just real dope to see. And I also love that Frankie got the love that he deserved on that farewell tour, you know, and I think that was good for him for that to happen as well. I knew Frankie Beverly's songs before I knew who Frankie Beverly was. That's how much is ingrained in black households, man. So definitely RIP to all three of them, man. I want to close this out with what happened a couple days ago. Shannon Sharpe, we all know he is part of First Take. You know, he's got his own platform, Club Shay Shay. He has Nightcap with him and Ocho Cinco, which they go live every night. I was actually at Bears practice in the Bears locker room when this video got sent to my group chat. I'm so happy I didn't click on it. And where I was about to click, I was like, hold up. I'm like, I was reading the comments. I was like, nah, I ain't gonna click on this. Then I saw it later. I said on Summer Sessions yesterday, I thought this is a publicity stunt because you can take your phone right now, take whatever phone you got, throw it on a couch or a bed 50 times, and tell me how many times live comes on. This to me, he was just trying to make people think that he ain't gay for real. For I don't know why he'd go out his way for that, but that's what I think. And after I saw the merchandise today, I'm doubling down on that. Lara, what's your opinion on what happened with Shannon Sharpe this week?
I'm with you. I definitely think it takes way too many clicks to get to the live part. Like unless your hand was wet. Because you know when you wash your hands and you try to swipe your phone, it'll open up some shit you ain't even seen in 10 years. Like but nah, nigga, like that shit. You could open up your phone, go on Instagram regularly, and throw your phone on the couch. It's no way it's getting on live. Like it's fine though. You know, if you gotta prove that you're not gay or whatever through that, whatever happens has to happen. I mean, I guess that has to happen for you, but you know. I just feel like it was silly, and it is bogus to Paul Pierce. You know what I mean? Like Uncle P had women with clothes on. I mean, they were strippers, but he ain't had nobody.
I think that also shows you just how untouchable he is at ESPN. It's Stephen A, Shannon, and McAfee.
You know they ain't gonna get me out of it.
Nightclap. That's hilarious.
And no bullshit. Like I'm sitting here right now, and like, gee, it took me like at least 5 clicks to even get to the live part of Instagram.
Right. Yeah.
So it's no way that was an accident, bro. So I'm with y'all, bro. It's definitely a publicity stunt, bro. Like, let that shit go, Shay. Like, whoever you are, we don't give a fuck, bro. Just do what you do. Like, we don't care. Yeah, this has been excessive. And like you said, bro, once you start dropping merch, G, are you selling t-shirts now? You did the roast with Casanat. You 56, this nigga 22.
What do you even know? I'm mad that Shannon Sharpe knows who Casanat is.
Wait.
Yeah.
Shannon Sharpe got merch with what? About what it say on there? Michelle.
Oh, it says that's my Michelle. I wish I had the picture up. And it has like does one of the shirts say nightcap? Or am I tripping?
They all say nightcap. Well, they all say nightcap, but then they got the 69 from the shelf.
It says, no, he got a shirt. He got a shirt that says nightcap, film department, That's my Michelle. And then he also got one that says 69 Michelle official fuel of nightcap. Like, what are we doing, bro? Like what are we doing?
Come on,
That,
skill.
that's
Come on, skill. Like, come on, bro. You gotta let it go, man. Like,
you gotta let it go, man.
bro. I mean, I just feel like we said, it's just to prove a point to everyone. And yeah, I guess the point is proven. I think he's silly though. I mean, Disney letting that ride. Hey, I'm not gonna speak too much on Disney outside of that because of that peanut incident that happened recently.
And I want to be paid by Disney eventually, so I'm gonna shut my mouth.
Like Disney business wise, but some of y'all, come on, dog, y'all do better than that. Like, at least he got to get fined or something. Sit him out.
Yeah.
Charles Barkley got caught about to get some head. They made that man sit for 2 episodes. They said, "Nah, you got to chill. You ran a stop."
He did.
They made him. He said, "I was just trying to get some head. This woman told me she had some great hair." I was like, "Oh shit."
We got we got 2 more minutes, man. Was there anything that you wanted to sound off real quick before we get you up out of here?
Only thing I wanted to say that I didn't get to say was that I do feel like, with going back on Frankie Beverly, I feel like it's about Rico. Some people did what they were supposed to do when they was here, and I feel like he did what he was supposed to do. He asked for this was his last tour. He told everybody this was his last tour, and after it was over, he passed away. We still don't know how he passed. Could have been natural cause. I didn't read up on that. I don't know if you guys know, but
I didn't see that either.
I mean, at the end of the day, I do feel like he not necessarily knew it was coming to an end, but I think he probably was a little satisfied with what he left on Earth. So I just wanted to let that piece be, because I felt like some people could listen to that and take from it, because you just never know. You never know. Yo, what you doing right now could be something for somebody else. So, that's just what I wanted to leave off with.
Definitely, man. That is Larry Legend. He'll be joining us each and every Friday on I'm Not Gonna Hold You for Respect the Culture. You can follow him on Twitter at Larry is Legend, and follow him at Larry is Legend 1 on Instagram, man. Larry, we gonna holler at you, bro.
All right, y'all be safe, be smooth.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna bring Courtney and Mikey back in here, man. We're gonna get back to our football conversation we just had. We were talking about, when we were talking about the negative part of what happened in last night's Thursday Night Football. I want to get to the actual other side that happened, and that was Mr. Joshua Allen and the Buffalo Bills getting a big time win, of course, 31-10. They're now 2-0. A lot of people, even myself, as big of a Josh Allen fan as I am, I didn't have him as one of my playoff teams, but the defense has really stepped up. He didn't have like a great night or anything. He did what he had to do because the running game was so great. James Cook had 11 carries, 78 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen went 13-19, 139 yards passing, 1 touchdown. But I think it was just the throws he made, the command he made. It's really feel like this team is starting to rally around them with the new kind of, like, I won't call it new generation, but like it's a second version of this team since Josh Allen has taken over as starting quarterback. And if you look at their schedule coming up, I think this is a real good start to the season. And they pretty much just pulled, the Dolphins about here. We ain't gonna have to worry about them niggas anymore. Like, regardless of what would happen to Tua, that was a statement that they put on them, especially 2 of them ain't beat Josh Allen and them, to say that this is still our division. No matter what's going on, I'm really interested to see what it's going to be like when they play the Jets. Courtney, I'm going to go to you. I know you're our resident Josh Allen hater, but what did you think about, what you've seen these first 2 games and what this season can mean for him if he's able to get this team back to the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to, we were talking about it earlier in the chat, and I don't want to bite Mikey's whole flow, but I do want to echo some of what Mikey said earlier in our group chat, and that was that the Bills succeed and do best when they lean into Josh Allen's strengths, and he's you have to accept the good with the bad with Josh Allen, because they are just so intertwined with one another. He's going to be that guy that can absolutely throw the ball deep. But also, he's gonna throw it into double coverage or do something stupid with the ball or try to run for more yardage because he thinks he's a fullback. Again, I am still not completely bought in to the Bills to the playoff. They're not one of my playoff teams, but he's been exactly what they needed him to be these first couple of games. He's definitely helped kind of shore up some of the instability that a lot of people thought was going to impact this team, considering how many weapons they did lose.
And I think too, what you just said, like, yeah, you're gonna have the turnovers. That's just how it is. I tweeted yesterday because I saw a tweet. I forgot who tweeted. I don't know if it was a scores page, and they put up, this is 2 of the night. And it was a picture of Jay Cutler. I was like, put some respect on the 6th guy. Yeah, he threw 3 picks, but he also had 3 touchdowns to go with that. Let's put a little duality and a little more respect for gunslingers. I don't think we respect gunslingers like we should today. What happened to living on the edge? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he's gonna go out there and throw a lot of picks. We get too deep in analytics, and yeah, Josh Allen's gonna do some bozo stuff. I'm not excusing any of that. But what did he have, like 15 rushing touchdowns, 10 rushing touchdowns last year? What was it? Like, it was a lot for a quarterback.
He had a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you bring all that together, I believe you got to have the little bit of a balance. Orlando said it did. Everybody loved Phil Favre when he was just out there throwing pick for pick, but had 30 to 35 touchdowns to go with it. Dante, what you think about not just how, the talk around the Josh Allen, because he was also ranked the most overrated player by his peers. What do you think about that hot start and where the season can take him?
I think like we just saw in the chat, is that he's really playing free. Sometimes when you have that diva receiver who's demanding the ball, that can handcuff a quarterback. And so Josh looks like he's really out there having fun. And I think that's what the Bills need the most, because when you have a lot of unproven receivers out there, I know, like I said, like we said, Keon Coleman has gotten all the hype for his interviews, but we haven't seen him perform on the field yet. So that offense is really leaning on Josh Allen to be the leader and be, one of the best, in my opinion. Honestly, I've had smoke for Joe Burrow for years, so I think right now you can argue that Josh Allen is the second best quarterback in the league. And so for me, seeing him play like this is big for Buffalo, because a lot of people started to really, myself included, write them off when they started to lose the pieces on offense. So I think, the fact that he is that old school gunslinger, like you said, Scott, you really hit the nail on the head, with the analytics and everybody being so driven about efficiency. And, you have the Kyle Shanahan style offenses where, we're just dinking and dunking and we're not really taking those shots unless we absolutely have them. So he's a throwback to that old school quarterback. And, him using his size. I know sometimes I joke when he fucks up, I call him Caucasian Cam Newton, but he is really somebody at his size is a rare person to play quarterback. So the sky's really the limit for the Bills if Josh can continue to carry this offense. Like, I know you don't want to see that, because with your quarterback, especially with him, you don't want him out there taking hella hits. It gets cold up there in Buffalo, so seeing how his body is affected, he's done it so far, but still at the same time, you want him to just be free and keep playing the way he's playing, but at the same time, get some more weapons that step up if you aren't going to bring people in that can help him carry that offense.
Mikey, what you think about Josh Allen?
Shit, y'all took all my shit from the group chat.
Hey, so y'all looked at my notes.
Yeah, no, we are just in agreement with you. That's why I had to acknowledge that it came from your brain. So thank you.
I'm fucking with y'all. I had the Bills as getting in as a wild card team, and I think the 2-0 start bodes extremely well for them. Not only because they won 2 games, but kind of got 2 up out of there. So that's now a whole team that you're gonna have to kind of throw in now, maybe with the Patriots, if they don't make a big move for a decent quarterback to take to his place. So I think that by the end of the season, they'll be able to start incorporating Keon Coleman more. I'm really glad that they're incorporating Shakur. Dawson Kincaid is a beast. They just need to, keep him on the field and be able to utilize him. James Cook is a monster. I really do like Ray Davis in the back as a 2-headed back. And I think we're not going to see maybe as the gaudy passing numbers that we've seen before out of Josh Allen, but I think we're going to see a more balanced team that has success and does find their way to the playoffs. I mean, he is a hooper, but I think, you know, the best thing with him is they don't neuter him. They don't take his legs from under him. They let him run. They let him play the way he's going to play. And I think that's what, you know, that's what's got him here. And they realize that.
Yeah, I'm gonna give the floor to you first. We don't take any notes on this because you actually brought this conversation up in the chat about why the quarterback landscape is so bad. Like, what was the statue about? How many quarterbacks played last year? Was it 60, 63 or something like that?
Yeah, there was like 63 different quarterbacks that played last year. And it's crazy because to me, there shouldn't even be that many fucking quarterbacks,
right,
you know, in the league. So, you know, I think it's just really, you know, we're seeing right now just kind of, you know, a lot of people were giving Tom Brady, you know, a lot of shit saying, oh, the future is now old man. You know, when he was talking about how the quarterback progression and development now, it's just rushed and it's not what it was back in the day. But I do tend to agree with him because, you know, just for example, Tua is out. Now you got guys like Skylar Thompson. If it's not Skylar Thompson, then they have to elevate like Mike White, guys of that nature. Your season is already shot. Where are the days of, you know, the legit backups, you know, as Nicholas Castellanos sends a deep he's out. I thought he was about to hit a home run. I thought he was about to, you know, pour one out for Tua and send it into left field.
Hey man, hug your loved ones.
Right. Let me make sure my family cool. But you know, when you look around at the backups around the league, you know, like they're terrible. And I remember, you know, just for example, the Bears were able to have a backup in Kyle Lorton and use him in a trade to get somebody of Jay Cutler's stature. And so, you know, that was a big deal at the time.
I think it was a massive deal, bro. I was so happy that day.
No, and that was a massive deal, and the talent was there. Clearly, you know, the Denver Broncos organization knew, you know, what they saw that glimpse of was eventually going to turn out to be, you know, what Jay Cutler's career was, just kind of with, you know, the personality, the demeanor, the shaky play on the field, the highlight plays. But, you know, when you look around, like, who are some of the best backups? You know, like, the top of my mind, I would say probably the best backup in the league right now is Jimmy Garoppolo, just because of the amount of
Jameis Winston erasure. That's crazy.
Jameis Winston has not gone to a Super Bowl. Jameis Winston has not. No, stop it. You know, like, it would be a guy like Jimmy G.
The Jeff Blakes of the world.
Hell no. Fuck that. No. It's Jameis. It is Jameis.
It's not Jameis. It's not Jameis.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that Super Bowl shit. Garoppolo got carried to the Super Bowl, bro.
It is not Jameis.
Fuck
bro.
no.
No, but see, look, I think also, since it being Gunslinger Appreciation Day, we might have to give it to Jameis.
5,000 of them things.
Also,
what you talking about?
PFF is terrible at grading quarterbacks, but I will say this: I'm pretty sure Sam Darnold was the highest rated quarterback last week.
Last week he was.
He played well.
That's how bad that the Vikings are, but not the Vikings, but the Giants are. The piggyback off what you're saying, Mike. Yeah, it's the same thing, kind of like in the NBA. Where are the solid role players? Like, you know, I think the Bears have a solid backup in the Tyson Bagent. But it's kind of the same thing. And I think just the development is so terrible. Like, we're not hiring the right guys. Not only are not hiring the right guys, I don't think you're giving these guys enough time as well. When I put in the group chat who's responsible for Josh Allen's, you know, getting to this point, like, and Courtney had a great answer himself, which is definitely true. But also, like you said, Mikey, Brian Daboll, he was able to stay there for a couple years and really build that up. We don't see that as much, you know.
Now, we've had this discussion on the show before, Scott, about how, like, why is this happening with quarterbacks? Like, we give these rookie quarterbacks are almost kind of set up to fail because they don't have someone, you know, by the time they do get comfortable in an offense, that coordinator is getting hired somewhere else. Yeah. Mikey said it earlier. We don't really have the Vic Fangio types anymore that stay as coordinators for years and years and years. And that also, I think, hinders development.
I agree. And another thing that I didn't mention earlier, but it's true. The game is kind of fucked up now in the way that organizations and staffs build their teams because of that 5th-year rookie contract, that extra year. Yep. You know, a lot of teams are kind of shifting more to the fuck it, we'll draft them and throw them out there, and we'll build up the rest and hope that our evaluation can get them because of that 5th year. And it, as everything does, it comes down to money. But that's why we see, people getting forced in. And I know we're going to talk about them later, but I foresee something happen like that down in Atlanta, with the Kirk Cousins and the Michael Penix situation.
Definitely. Let's spend the last 25 minutes talking about week 2 in the NFL. Big week coming up. Courtney, I want to talk about I don't want to spend too much time. I actually think we covered a lot of this on Monday with the Deshaun Watson thing, but there's been some updates to the point we even had Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk. He was on Dan Patrick this morning, and he said that he asked around the Browns. He said he didn't get an answer, but that no answer told him the answer about did they know about this prior new suit, civil suit that's coming out. And are the Browns trying to pave a way to get up out this deal? Courtney, just tell us what you know about the situation and what everything that's been going on.
I mean, listen, it all comes down to what I've said previously, to what many people have said before. I'm not some like bold new mind that came up with something new. The Browns thought they were getting a fucking steal in Deshaun Watson. They were okay with getting Deshaun Watson and the baggage that came along with him, as long as they were getting a top tier talent. He's not clearly not the top tier talent that they expected him to be. And that's why it's okay. Again, Dante said it. I wouldn't be surprised if they were the ones who put it out there so they can try to free themselves of this, which again, they shouldn't absolve themselves of anything, because if any, it's so frustrating to me to just like, oh, well, we had no, like Mike Florio said, silence is everything. It tells you everything you need to know. The Browns absolutely knew about it. And it's so frustrating to me that we're going to like keep going through this with this man until something happens. He should not have the privilege of playing freaking in the National Football League. I'm sorry. Just like Trevor Bauer in Major League Baseball. I'm sorry. You're done. That's a privilege. Yeah. You lost that privilege.
And I agree too. It's also kind of what Chris Long said. He said, and the messed up part is we only having this conversation because he's been bad on the field.
Correct. Yeah. That's the worst part about it. If he was balling out, we
wouldn't be talking about him. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. It would just be put under the rug.
And we'd all be haters. We'd all be haters because God forbid that a man be held liable and responsible for fucking sexually abusing women. That's crazy. Crazy.
I think to me, man, I think the main thing for me, I've been against this from the moment, and from the negotiation stage. Like to see all these teams so thirsty for Deshaun Watson was crazy to me. And the thing too, we all know about Deshaun and how that is. I don't want the Browns to get away with this. Correct. I want to keep the light on these niggas. Like, y'all don't get any moral compass that they're going to try to swing this into, or we didn't know about this and we care about the victims. No, you're just doing this because the niggas
even the NFL, absolutely, their hands are dirty too.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so disheartening to me. And I, as a woman, right, and especially with so much female viewership now is comprised of women, it's just like, wow, that's really low key high key what you think about us. Right. It's wild to have to acknowledge that reality as a fan of the sport.
Yeah, 100%. And I think I want to touch on this, what Orlando said. So the Cubs did it with Chapman. Unfortunately, talent trumps morality. I even know some people who are Cub fans, men and women, have said that part of the run is very, choppy for them is how they feel about it. Mikey Dante,
the Rangers with Chapman last season too.
Rangers Chapman again too. Exactly. Mikey Dante, any take on this before we move on to the Jets?
I just think I agree that the play, like the juice is not worth the squeeze right now for what you're getting on the field and for what the hit that they took publicly, and the hit that they're going to continue to take until this gets resolved. But it's a very, very difficult situation, obviously, because of the allegations. But I will keep it to just the on-field part. The moment you cut bait with him and you demote him or you release him, whatever, that is a total organizational failure in which their GM who just got an extension this off season, their president of football ops. Everybody needs to go. So you really have to sit and digest this and make sure that you're making the right decision, because this can go ahead and send them right back to being the mistake on the lake and being completely irrelevant in football. And that can be a total sell-off of talent. I've seen them discuss a possible Myles Garrett trade down the road if the Browns don't shake out, and that's something the Bears might be interested in. Every team's going to want to pile up for him. But just on the field,
my firstborn son, and I don't have one for Myles Garrett.
Right. But just on the field, like, the ramifications for this is massive and can be organizational, monumental moment going further. So they really are in a tough ass spot. That's why I felt like all of this shit should have been fucking addressed, before making that move for him. You had to have I would have hired 5 private investigators to do all of this work, because the moment one person comes out with another case, then
But Mikey, the crazy part though is that the Browns say allegedly that they did just that they went above and beyond to do all of this, and they were quote comfortable with what they found, and that's the worst part about it. You were okay with that. So you were okay with it, but now that he's asked,
now we gotta talk about it. Yeah,
no, man, but that's also why at the end of the day, like, this leads into a much deeper, darker conversation, because, like, as I say all the time, like, fans are worse than groupies in a lot of situations, and especially when those fans are law enforcement. This really should be a non-conversation. This man had 28 fucking cases. Why is he even allowed to walk the streets?
Why is he around?
You feel me?
Correct.
So when you get to a point where, and this is not me shooting Roger Goodell, Adam Silver any bail, but at the same time, when they are lenient with suspensions, when they don't just flat out kick a player out the league, that pressure really shouldn't be on them. It should be on the local law enforcement to actually enforce what's going on and the crimes that these people are committing in the first place, just like you would with any other taxpaying citizen. Like, if you've sexually abused 28 women, just because you're rich, it shouldn't be so, okay, well, you get an opportunity to settle out. I understand these were civil cases, but still, if you're a league, you look at that and say, all right, bro, you can't play here. Like, you can't be here. We don't want you around. So at this point, it's like I said, I do think the Browns, with their investigators and everything, they kept this in their back pocket, and he's playing like shit. So now it's like, okay, let's get him up out of here. And he's going to be out.
And because you know what, Dante, you know what looks good for the league? Yeah, this is a terrible hit and all of that stuff. But what does Roger Goodell love? A good redemption story. And they thought Deshaun 100%. Watson was going to be, his play was going to be what they saw prior to this shit going down, and that he would have came out, they would have been successful, and they can go ahead and prop him up and highlight him. And unfortunately, that's just not what it's been. And I think we're going to get, I don't think we're going to get through the full season. If the play continues at what it is, he's not going to be starting, in a month from now, really. So I think we're going to start getting to those end of days. If his play can elevate and he can actually be decent, then this is, like Courtney said,
go away.
Yeah, it'll go away. But first off, who the fuck shows up to the crib for a date and then just, ends up on the bed butt ass naked?
A fucking predator. A predator.
No, yeah. It's something mentally wrong. It's something
That's
mentally
not normal, man.
It's not normal people behavior. Yeah, right.
Yeah. He needs to
You're
be
fucking deviant.
Yeah, man. Let's move on to another deviant, Aaron Rodgers, and the New York Football Jets. They made their Aaron Rodgers actually got through a game, everybody. He got through a full game with the Jets on Monday Night Football. He had one vintage drive and then looked like the nigga I've been saying he is the last 4 or 5 years of playing conservative and throwing the ball out of bounds. They ended up getting washed 32-19. He went 13-21, 167 yards, 1 touchdown. Breece Hall had 16 carries, 54 yards, touchdown. And that real fun drive that they had where Garrett Wilson caught 4 balls for like 45 yards on that one drive, Aaron. He finished with 60. And, also there was Sauce Gardner. I think he might have got benched. I don't know 100% what happened. We still don't really know what happened.
His shoulder. I thought it was his
I thought he hurt his shoulder.
Yeah,
it was a shoulder. Okay, because he was cussing and things like he didn't know what was going on with the Aikman and them didn't really say what it was, but it was a shoulder. So they will be playing the Titans. We'll get to that in our picks in a minute. Me personally, I think it was a bad start for them, but I don't think it's time to ring the alarm on the Jets so early. You're going up against a juggernaut in the Niners. Let's just be real about them. Like, this is a team that lost Christian McCaffrey, and we're going to get to that right after this, and just pull and plug, because of the system they've got with the running backs, Brock Purdy in year 3. They just ran into the wrong niggas. I think they will be fine. I think that they're still going to be in this division. I do think any thoughts of them coming out of the AFC is crazy because Aaron Rodgers is 40. And on top of that, Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, outside of kicking the Bears' ass, ain't been Aaron Rodgers, I believe, in like 5 years. And so I think that's going to be an issue as well. But I think overall, they'll be fine, but that's not the way you want to start this season. Mikey, what you see from the Jets, and do you think there's anything to be worried about with them?
Well, I mean, they got smacked in the mouth. You're going up against a team that's been in the Super Bowl the last couple of years. Obviously, they're coming back for revenge, and it's a tough matchup. Anytime you get a team coming from the East Coast, traveling all the way out there to Santa Clara, and I don't think Aaron Rodgers looked bad. I just thought the defense wasn't what everybody was, kind of hyping it up to be. In the run game, they couldn't stop the run game. Obviously, Jordan Mason had a career day in his first start. The passing game, it could have been a little bit worse statistically because, Brandon Ayuk dropped some balls. So for me, I just want to see how Aaron Rodgers' ankle holds up, with that Achilles, because they have a tough matchup this week. They have a tough matchup with what we saw that Titans interior defensive line do. You got that's 700 pounds of two men that will be coming after now 40-year-old non-mobile Aaron Rodgers. We saw what the Titans were able to do in stopping the run. So this is, I don't want to say it's a must-win game, but it's going to get pretty close to it. Just because you already have a team that's 2-0 in your division, you do not want to fall back. You have to keep pace with the Buffalo Bills. So I think that they'll be able to find their rhythm down the road. I mean, I love Garrett Wilson as a wide receiver. I just don't think they have enough. When you're relying on Alan Lazard in the year 2024, that combination, I don't know if that's going to be up there with the upper echelon offenses. But the defense really has to get it together because the defense was not what everybody sold it to be to me, and they look easy. If Rodgers is not pulling that Houdini shit out of his ass, and the defense is not there, then they look Reggie.
And Hassan Reddick is the crib sleep.
Yeah, chilling.
He really don't want to be there. Like, you know how much you don't want to be there. If you willing to risk $800,000, like I know niggas is rich, but $800,000 is still $800,000.
Well, for me, it don't make sense though because he's only getting paid. He's only getting paid $14 million this year.
Yeah,
he's already given up half of that with all the fines. He's at like $8 million loss. Like, what the fuck? Who is advising him?
Yeah, that's definitely crazy, man. Let's Christian McCaffrey did not play this past Monday because of Achilles tightness. They actually announced that, of course, he's going to be out again this week as they will be on the road in Minnesota taking on the Vikings. But Kyle Shanahan said they might be putting him on IR. Courtney, I'm going to let you take this one. Do you think this is something to be worried about? And do you think that they can still, hold it down if he's going to miss significant time?
For sure. I mean, I don't know if y'all saw, but like Jordan Mason, I mean, listen, and I echo Mikey's sentiments about the Jets defense. They arguably got significantly worse in the offseason, and I'm pretty happy about that. But no, I mean, he looked like he kind of got plugged in there pretty well. Obviously, opponents are going to get tougher and missing out on a huge running back like Christian McCaffrey for a few weeks is never ideal, but I mean, better to get it. I mean, it's kind of like guaranteed that you're going to miss Christian McCaffrey for a few games anyway, a season, at least at this point. So like, you might as well just lose him early. So, I mean, it's good that it's happening now and not later in the season when they'll need him down the stretch.
Definitely. Let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons losing at the crib to Justin Fields, TJ Watt, and that Pittsburgh Steelers defense, not offense. They will be at the crib again. This time they will be playing the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football. They're not going to be at the crib. They'll be in Philly. Dante, man, what's the urgency here for Atlanta? Is it almost panic time or Penix time?
It's panic. Both, nigga. Like, look at their schedule, bro. If you look at their schedule, the Atlanta Falcons could blink and be 0-5. Like, they play the Eagles.
Exactly.
They play the Chiefs next week.
Woo!
That's the L. They play the Chiefs next week. They play the Saints, and then they play the Bucks. They could be 1-4 or 0-5. So
yeah,
I'm not saying this is must win, but you got to do something. And it all come down to Kirk Cousins because he really looks like he can't move out there. Like, he wanted to play in the preseason and knock the rust off. They told him no. And, they got him doing some things that normally he doesn't do. Big shout out to Jared and Brian King's Landing. They had a great pregame show last night where they talked about everything, bro.
Hey Damien, fuck you.
But nah, bro, like they made a very good point. They got him in the pistol. He hasn't run pistol since he was in Washington. So I understand he is, one of the, Kyle Shanahan's disciples, but at the same time, to try to throw him back into that when he hasn't done that, and he's coming off an Achilles at 36, that was just silly. So yeah, the urgency is high. They really feel like, and like it's crazy. I was at work today, and I was walking past some people, and they was like, we're gonna be 0-3. They pretty much booked it. If they're gonna be,
they packed it up, packed it in.
Yeah, bro. Because you gotta think if you don't beat Philly on the road, which is gonna be a tough game. You're not beating the Chiefs. You're not beating the Chiefs. So you're right down there 0-3.
I think too, man, with Atlanta, like it kind of makes the Penix like draft pick not look as bad anymore. Like to the point, like we kind of knew this nigga's moving this slow. So that's why we. It's
almost like general managers know more than most of us are.
This is true.
Yeah,
this is true. I thank you because we got Rome Odunze because of that. So I appreciate the Atlanta Falcons 100%. This one I want the entire group's opinion on. Mikey, you said this with the Panthers. They just lost. Who they lose out for the season?
Derrick Brown. Derrick
Brown. Who's worse? Is who's gonna be the number one pick? Is it gonna be the New York Giants or is it gonna be the Carolina Panthers? Like that's the conversation now. Mikey, who you think is gonna be worse this season?
I think it's going to be the Carolina Panthers because still at the end, the Giants still have a pretty formidable defensive line. So I think that will still be able to keep them in games. Obviously, we know Daniel Jones sucks. And we've been knowing for months now that the Giants have been trying to find a way to get up out of that. They obviously weren't able to meet the asking price to trade up this year, or teams weren't willing to give up, the selection, like we know they were in contact with the Patriots. They weren't doing it. The Bears weren't doing it. The Commanders weren't doing it. So I still think the Giants will find a way through defense. The Panthers fucking suck, and Bryce Young is ass. And that's just kind of what it is right now. And they're a franchise that's in turmoil. And I just don't see an end in sight for them.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that the Giants are a bad team, but this Panthers team might be generationally bad. Anytime you let the Saints put up 47 on you, bro, like I think it was like 35-0 at halftime. Like, and I feel bad for Bryce Young because
I don't feel bad.
Well, we know, yeah. That's NFC South hate. We'll allow it. I feel bad for him because he's gonna be compared to what CJ Stroud does, to what we eventually hope what Caleb Williams does because of the trades that happen. I think there's no coming back from this. Ryan Poles looks more and more like a thief as the weeks go by because of this trade that I think if Caleb Williams becomes what we expect him to become, it's going to be looked at worse than the Herschel Walker trade. I think just off the fact that the Giants defense is pretty solid, Malik Neighbors is pretty good, and Daniel Jones, as bad as he is, he can do like some huff enough that you'll see how he tricked the Giants to win a game or two. So I'll put them at like 2 or 3 wins, but I think this might be a 1-16 team for the Panthers. Courtney, who do you think is going to be worse this season?
Yeah, I do have to agree. I think the Panthers are going to be worse. That was like, listen, I'm not saying that the Saints are some great team. You know how I feel about them right now. And I'm not calling that win a fluke, but like also that was brutal. I wasn't thinking that we were going to beat them that bad. So yeah, I think that, yeah, the Panthers.
Dante. Take us on. Which one will be worse?
Also, Minnesota's quietly nice. Sorry. I don't know. Minnesota's defense is quietly nice.
Yeah, their defense is nice, but Sam Darnold's not doing that.
I felt the need to clarify.
Oh, okay. All right.
6-11. They'll be okay. But no, the Panthers are going to be terrible. Like, the Panthers are going to gift wrap our future center, with that second round pick.
Gift wrap it to us.
Yes, we're gonna take that. Thank you. It's appreciated. Like Orlando just said, we basically getting a first round pick with that second.
Pretty much.
But no, they are bad. I actually do feel bad for Bryce Young simply because I talk about this all the time. We give quarterbacks, too much hate and too much praise. So like with a guy like Bryce going into an absolute dog shit situation, he's expected to be a savior. And it's hard to do that when you don't have pieces around you. Like Adam Thielen is his best receiver. You feel me?
It circles back to that quarterback development discussion we were just having.
Yeah, it's hard to develop when you don't have things around you that help you develop, especially with the trenches, because their O-line has been bad. And he gets sacked a lot. And when you what is he listed at? 5'11"? He's not 5'11". What is he listed at?
He's like 5'8". He's listed 5'11". That nigga's probably.
But no, and like when I watch him play, I think about the times when I would be down on field level and see Drew Brees play quarterback. Like when he would snap the ball, when they stood up, bro, he couldn't see over the line, but his timing was impeccable. And like Drew knew where his receivers.
Gordon's like, let's not do this.
Let's not disrespect Drew Brees. We're not disrespecting Drew Brees. I know he played like 6 years too long, but in his day,
the greatest stat pattern of our generation
was an extremely solid quarterback. That's my guy, and I live here. But nah, it's gonna be
That's gotta be sacrilegious saying that in Atlanta.
From here, I know that.
We know you one of us. You one of us. But it is time now for Mikey's weekend picks, weekend bets. Mikey, tell us what you got for the people to make some money this week.
Please.
We went 3-2 last week. We caught a bad beat with the Dylan Raiola. Over 235 and a half passing yards. Colorado just fucking sucks. I'm tired of talking about them. Shout out to Flows, your brother, for tweeting. Can we stop talking about Deion? Can we stop talking about Colorado? They fucking stink. But we did make some money on our single bets, and the parlay did hit. This week, I got 2 single plays and 1 parlay. So for our first play, we're going to go with Zach Moss, the running back for the Cincinnati Bengals, over 13.5 receiving yards. Over the last 22 games, the Chiefs have allowed this to opposing running backs 18 times. He's 14 for 20 in his career in clearing this when the line is set at that. Last week, he had 2 receptions for 17 yards, 4 targets. I think that we're going to have to see Joe Burrow get the ball out of his hand quick and into some of, the running backs and into Jamar Chase's hands, because we have, it's been confirmed that T. Higgins is out. So it's very tough playing against the Mahomes and the Chiefs. So I think that they find a way to utilize their pass catching, running back. So over 13.5 on that. My next one, CeeDee Lamb, fresh off of getting paid, over 6.5 receptions. Last week's game script really didn't call for the Cowboys to really air it out that much. I think Dak only finished with like 170 passing yards, but still, CD had 5 receptions on 10 targets. I think this week, playing at home against the Saints team. I think there's going to be some points put up. So I like him to get that over 6.5. And then for our parlay of the week, we are going to be taking those same Dallas Cowboys to beat Courtney's Saints. We're going to be taking the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the Bengals. We're going to take the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday night to beat Dante's Falcons. And the last leg, I know y'all going to think I'm crazy, but we're going to take the New York Giants to beat the Washington Commanders.
Ooh, okay.
So that's plus 418, $100 to get you 518 back. So let's try to win some money this week.
Definitely. Mikey's parlay hit for y'all last week. So we're going to see what it does this week. We're going to take these final about 6-7 minutes and do our week 2 rapid picks or who's going to win. We got to figure out what the prize is going to be. I definitely went 11-4 on my picks last week. Me, Dante, and Mikey gave our Bears pick. Courtney, who you got winning Sunday Night Football, Bears and Texans?
Sadly, I do have to take the Texans on this one, guys. I do think that we're going to see some big improvements by Caleb this week. He's going to settle down and get maybe just a skosh more comfortable, but I do have the Texans winning that game.
All right, let's get to Ravens Raiders in Baltimore, home opener for the Ravens after losing about a week ago to the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going with the Ravens. The Raiders are going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL this year because you're going to prove that you need a quarterback. And I think that Devontae Adams will be begging to be traded. It might actually be traded at the trade deadline. I'm going Ravens. Mikey, who you got?
I got the Ravens. This is a perfect get-right game, at home for their home debut.
Dante.
Baltimore.
Go ahead, Courtney. All right, so we're gonna do the same. Pretty much. What's the word I'm looking for? Rotation. Me, Mikey, Dante, Courtney. So, for Jaguars Browns, another home opener for the Jaguars. They're about to blowing a 17-point lead, I think, to the Miami Dolphins last week, and they will be going up against Freaky Shaun and them Browns. I believe that this is going to be a very, very close game. I'm going Jaguars, man. I just think that Deshaun Watson sucks. I think this is going to be a game where you're going to see Trevor Lawrence rise above that defense, make a couple plays, and I think they'll come out on top. I'm going with the Jaguars in this one.
Yeah, I'm riding with the Jaguars. I think they did some good things in the passing game last week. I mean, if they don't fumble in the goal line, then they're probably putting that game out of reach against the Dolphins. This Browns team is just not the same without Nick Chubb. I don't trust in Deshaun Watson. It's going to be hot in South Florida. You guys know how I am about that weather. So give me the Jags.
Jags.
Yeah, I also have the Jags. There's a lot of distractions happening for the Browns, and couple that with it being the Jags opener. Yeah.
And I just want them to go 0-2. I want everything bad to have the Cleveland Browns. Mike, you just said this game is not going to be easy for the Jets. It will be in Tennessee. Their home opener, Jets, Titans. I think this was going to go down to the wire as well, but I think a field goal will decide it, or a vintage Aaron Rodgers drive will decide it. But I think the Jets are going to get a tough, ugly win and go 1-1 before their Thursday night matchup against the Patriots.
Yeah, I'm going to ride with the Jets, although I think that this is going to be a close game. I think the defense, this is a good time, after seeing what the Will Levis put on tape last week. And, if you can rush him, he's going to make mistakes. I think they'll find a way to do that. I got a Sauce Gardner pick 6. I'm going to take the Jets.
I am taking Tennessee. I think they rely on their run game. We're going to get a heavy dose of Tony Pollard this week. We're not going to allow Will Levis to make the mistakes he made last week because he's not going to throw the ball that much. I don't think you're going to really see that from him. I think Aaron Rodgers still can't fucking move. Like you said, he had that one drive, but then he looked like a guy who is old and coming off an Achilles injury. So I think that defensive line will be able to definitely cause some problems with him. We saw what they did with Caleb. And, Caleb was a lot more mobile than Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, Aaron is the vet. And we'll see him get rid of some balls, and he won't take sacks and things like that. But I still think it's going to be more of a rollback for Aaron than people think. It wasn't going to be he just comes back and flips a switch. So I got the Titans. Yeah,
I'm with Dante. I'm going with the Titans here. Last week, I watched that Titans defense allow over 400 yards and 8 straight scoring drives. I'm just not sold on that Jets defensive line. I really got to go with, except My only thing that I'm differing on from Dante is I think this is going to be the Tajay Spears breakout game. I think they're game planning for Tony Pollard, so I like Tajay Spears, a little fantasy football anecdote in there as well. High RB2 potential there.
Vikings Niners, Vikings home opener. Sam Darnold is going to be reminded that he's Sam Darnold by Nick Bosa in his defense. I'm going Niners.
I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings. Just so y'all know, the San Francisco 49ers have not beat the Vikings in Minnesota since week 15 of 1992.
Oh, for real? Damn, that's a stat.
Thanks. Thank you, Mickey.
Sam Darnold revenge game. I'm going with the Vikings as well.
Vikings starting.
I fear I also like the sneaky, sexy pick of Minnesota over San Francisco.
And just for this one, there is a case study. The Niners went there last year, lost. Brian Flores was sending everybody at Brock Purdy, and that was kind of the game that started. That was the week after the Niners lost to the Browns, and that kind of started that Brock Purdy, up and down stretch. So I think there's good tape on film for the Vikings defense, and I think they'll get after them.
Panthers, Chargers. Every time the Panthers come up, I'm taking the other team. I'm going Jay Herbo, Jim Harbaugh. They go 2-0.
I'm going to Chargers.
Chargers.
Season ticket holder, go get your tickets.
Chargers for sure.
Chargers. Patriots, Seahawks, man. I am not buying that win that they had over the Cincinnati Bengals last week. I'm going with the Seahawks to get this dub.
Yeah, I'm going to ride with Gino.
Is it in Seattle or is it in?
It's in New England. It's in New England.
I'm going with the Patriots.
I'm going with the Patriots as well.
Ooh, okay.
That defense didn't look fake to me. Shout out to Christian Gonzalez. I said it once, said it before. That's elite talent right there.
Mexican cornerback. She's being filthy, but yes, Mexican quarterback.
Oh my God.
He's Colombian.
Being a professional. That's crazy. As a Pac-12 enjoyer, I have been watching this guy for years. I think he's real good. Damn.
My apologies.
No Kenneth Walker for that one too. No Kenneth Walker for the.
No Kenneth Walker.
Either.
Oh, he's not starting this week. Dang, sucks for fantasy. Tragic.
Zach
Charbonnet.
Yeah.
Zach
Charbonnet back up for the Seahawks. They drafted him pretty early, like second round last year.
This next game, you can put stupid finish alert all over. Cowboys and Saints. The Saints are not the team that the Carolina Panthers showed you that they were. I'm going Cowboys. Dak and the boys go up 2-0.
Yeah, I got the Cowboys.
Yeah, my MVP Dakota's gonna have a great game. Cowboys.
Yeah, I fear the Saints are going to move to 1-1 after this week. I'm going Cowboys.
Commanders have their home opener at that crappy FedEx Field or whatever the name is they call it. I already know, Mikey, where you're going. You said you got Giants in your parlay. I'm going with the Commandos, man. I think that Jaden Daniels has a better game than he had passing wise last week. And I think they get the dub.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride with the Commanders, just like I said. That defensive line is gonna get after Jaden Daniels. They've already come out and said they don't want him running as much as he was. And Shane Bowen, the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants, he's kind of a bend don't break, and he's gonna kind of close up those running lanes and force Jaden Daniels to throw. And I think it's gonna be another tough week for the rookie QBs.
I'm gonna go Commanders. I think Jaden has a big game. I think, being in DC, with the new ownership group and everything they're putting into that team, I think you're gonna have a really excited fan base, really energized fan base, and they're gonna show out. And I still think the Giants are I know they, made moves on defense, but I think that they'll be able to put up points at home in DC.
I'm with Dante. I do agree. I'm not too thrilled every time I see Jaden Daniels start to run. I tense up a little bit. And he is my fantasy quarterback. But I want to see the young man thrive, and I'd like to see him get some more targets to Terry McLaurin as well. That's not fantasy football related per se. I just think that's a good potential connection that I'd like to see them work on throughout the season. But I'm going Commanders.
This next game, and the Lions have another game at home. By the way, these niggas are not going to be outside till like week 14. This will be a rematch of last year's divisional playoff game between them and the Buccaneers. But the Buccaneers got a lot of injuries. They're going to be missing Antoine Winfield Jr., aka Derwin Ding Dong Davis. That nigga looks just like him. I don't know if anybody peeped that. Yes. He looked just like that nigga from the game. Nigga like Pooch all. Kalijah Cansey, the defensive tackle. Luke Godecki, their right tackle. He's going to be out. And of course, their cornerback Josh Hayes are all going to be out this week. I'm going with the Lions. They might pick to come out the NFC North. They might pick to come out the NFC. I think they're going to continue with the way they've been playing, and I think they're going to win this one. But I do think my man Baker Mayfield, going to put up a fight.
Yeah, I really wanted to go with the Bucs until I saw all of those injuries. I think the Lions were in a very tough game last week with the Rams, week 1, Sunday Night Football. But I think they find a way to kind of maybe blow the doors off this one and maybe put up a 30 spot.
Yeah, I got Detroit.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of a shootout. I'm curious to see which quarterback has the goofier game. Yeah, like both of them have like maximum like silly.
They both got the bozo gene,
Yeah. And like disrespectfully, but also respectfully, like I just. That's really what it comes down to for me. I think because it is in Detroit, correct? I got to go with the Lions.
This next game is going to be interesting. It's in Green Bay. Matt LaFleur hasn't ruled out Jordan Love, said he's questionable, but that to me is just keep the Colts on their feet. They will be starting Malik Willis, and he'll be going up against Anthony Richardson, the Colts. I think the Colts getting that dub column. I do think Malik Willis is going to be fake decent because they've got devil magic over there in Green Bay. Any nigga that's under center has good games. So I think he'll be.
It's not going to work this time.
I hope to God that you are right. I would love nothing more than to start that game on Sunday with these niggas being 0-2. I'm going with the Colts. The Colts get the dub.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Colts. I think there's a clear game plan there. Run the shit out of Jonathan Taylor. We seen what Saquon did to them, to that defense last week. Utilize Anthony Richardson on the legs. That should be a game where they have over 180 rushing yards combined. I'm riding with the Colts.
Yeah, I'm going Colts. Like I said, not a big fan of this team, but I think with Jordan Love out, that Packers defense can be had, and I think they're gonna be able to put some points up in Lambeau.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go with the Colts. I think I went back and watched the condensed version of that Colts game, because I didn't really get to watch as much as I wanted to. And like Anthony Richardson was like 1 or 2 missed throws from like
winning that game.
Not just winning that game, by winning that game by like 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That isn't, and the Texans are not like, some opponent to scoff at. So I'm going to go with the Colts, especially with the uncertainty that the Packers have at the quarterback position.
Orlando said Malik Willis will be in Montreal by Tuesday. This next game, I think, is going to be crazy. Cardinals-Rams in Arizona. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. The Rams are dealing with injuries as well. Puka Nacua is put on IR. But they still got that man, Cooper Kupp, who showed he's very much still alive. Kyler Murray had some interesting comments to me. Ain't my job to get the ball to hit Marvin Harrison. No, I don't know what that meant. I'm kind of off everything, Kyler Murray. But I got the Rams winning a very, very close game this week to bounce back from losing that last week in Detroit.
Yeah, I got the Cardinals on this one. I told you last week that they were a live dog, and it's very tough to go up to Orchard Park and to they really had that game until they did it, and Josh Allen went superhero mode. But the Rams are just so banged up. No Puka Nacua, no Steve Avila. Their linemen. They're down like 3 starting offensive linemen. I think that the Cardinals go ahead at home debut, and they go ahead and they get the W.
The no Puka hurts. So if I'm Marvin Harrison Jr., I probably would have slapped Kyler Murray for saying that. That was just fucking stupid. But I'm gonna go with the Cardinals.
Yeah, this is another one of those games that has equal like maximum silly potential. But I'm gonna go with the Cardinals.
Broncos, Steelers, Bo Nix, home debut. Even though he threw a couple picks last week, he still oddly looked like he was kind of in control. I know that sounds crazy, but like he still.
It was the coaching.
Yeah. I saw some positive signs despite the interceptions. This game is supposed to be the Russell Wilson revenge game. Nothing is official, but starting from the way that Mike Tomlin's talk, this will be Justin Fields starting once again. I think the Broncos get a dub. I think Bo Nix has a good game. I think all the rookie quarterbacks gonna look much better than they did last week. I'm gonna give this one to the Broncos.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride with that boy JF2 now. I think the Steelers go ahead and win. Their defense is crazy. TJ Watt is already on some
phenomenal
defensive player of the year type run. We remember what Justin Fields did last year in the passing game against the Broncos. I think that they have a much more explosive showing this time around, and I think the Steelers move to 2-0. And I don't think Russell Wilson sees the field until Justin Fields get hurt.
Oh yeah, I got them. I'm sorry, I got Pittsburgh. I agree. I think that defense is A1, and I think as long as Justin doesn't turn the ball over, he'll be able to make some plays. There were still some plays that were left out there against Atlanta, and I think Atlanta's defense is better than Denver's defense. So I'm gonna go with Justin and the Steelers.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Broncos by a field goal.
And we have a final game we're going to review because we already gave our Sunday Night Football picks, and then we're going to preview Monday Night Football on Monday. One of the best quarterback rivalries right now, Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow will be meeting up in Kansas City. Chiefs-Bengals will be the America's game of the week for CBS. I'm going with the Chiefs. The Bengals, they make a habit out of starting 0-2, which is not good, despite how many times they actually bounce back from being 0-2. No T. Higgins again this week. We still don't know how Jamar is going to play. This nigga's still upset by not having his contract, despite what he said that the team needs to play better. I think the Chiefs going to get it done. You're going to see a much better, much more focused Patrick Mahomes. Chiefs moves to 2-0.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs, and I don't think it's going to be close. I think they steamroll them.
Yeah, Chiefs by 10.
Yeah, I have the Chiefs, and lucky for them, they get to get this game out of the way kind of early. So yeah, I got the Chiefs by 10 at least.
And that is all we have for y'all today. Shout out to everybody watching. We had almost 1,000 in the chat today. So shout out to everybody who watched. Shout out to Larry Legend for joining us. He'll be joining us each and every Friday for our culture segment. Shout out to everybody who watches on Instagram. Be back on Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central. I will be still in Houston, so I'll be doing the show from Houston. Bang won't be there. He'll be back on Friday. We're going to be recapping everything that happened in Sunday Night Football, recapping everything that happened in week 2, and then we're going to preview Monday Night Football, man. So y'all can follow Dante at October's on Tay on Twitter. You can follow Courtney at 1-800-Caliber on all social media platforms. You can follow Mikey at Junior_Solito. You can follow me at Barberchair Scott on all social media platforms. You can subscribe to the Barber's Chair Net Patreon. You can click on a link in the description box, or you can take your phone right up to the screen and take you right to this QR code, and you can subscribe to the $10 tier. That means you get a 25% off code in the Barber's Chair Network shop. And of course, if you don't have that code, if you're not Patreon, you can just go to bcnetshop.com to get all of your gear. That's all we got for y'all. Y'all have a good weekend, and we'll holler at y'all on Monday. We up out of here.